You do admit that there were multiple partners at the time that Ms. Myers was conceived?
Of course, but you got to realize I was 17. So any calculation within that time, I could have been way off. Because by the time I found out, I was 4 months pregnant with her. So there could be a list of whomever.
These moms will have you thinking Maleficent was a saint. So Ms. Myers has brought her mother, Ms. Madrigal, to court today because she claims Ms. Madrigal has no idea who her biological father is. Ms. Myers says her mother gave her a list of 13 possible men. The odds are definitely stacked against her, but she is hoping to find out who her real father is today.
Say your mother gave you a list of 13 possible men, and you are hoping to determine who your father is today. The court has located 2 of the 13 men and has already ordered paternity tests to be administered. Ms. Madrigal, you admit to having a laundry list of potential fathers, but hope today answers your daughter's lifelong question.
Ms. Myers explains that when she was 13 years old, she had a father figure in her life who passed away. She needed closure and to find out who her real father was. Ms. Madrigal tells the court that over the course of a year or more, she would give Ms. Myers names of potential fathers, which Ms. Myers felt was like a joke to her mother.
Ms. Madrigal, as you're giving your daughter this list, and I do not mean this in a joking way.
Right.
You couldn't narrow it down from 13?
You know, the 13 that she's named it's like 13 ghosts.
What about pick any man in Seattle?
You made
So
that
where
joke.
does this
Any friend that she met of mine.
The court then brings in Mr. Keith McCraney, one of the potential fathers. Mr. McCraney casually admits that he and Ms. Madrigal had a brief sexual encounter that lasted 3 minutes, and then she went to sleep with another man the same day. Ms. Myers is furious, calling Mr. McCraney inappropriate and saying he's made comments about how sexy she is.
Do you feel like all your life, the situation you find yourself in, your relationship with your mother, is this all because you didn't have that father in your life that you wanted, or that you
That's
didn't
how I feel.
know who your father
I
is?
didn't have.
You gotta understand, I didn't have to have you. I chose to have you. So don't do
chose to
that.
have-
And now
She chose to
that
have
takes
me.
us back to determining who your father is.
Next, the court hears from Mr. Derek Smith, another potential father. Mr. Smith says he had a brief encounter with Ms. Madrigal years ago, and then one day she showed up with Ms. Myers and said, "There's your dad." Ms. Madrigal denies this, but despite the messy history, Mr. Smith and Ms. Myers seem to have developed a decent relationship.
My daughter.
And you giggle?
Yeah.
Why?
I couldn't believe it. 3 minutes. I understand it doesn't take that, but...
So you
only takes 2
instantly
seconds to
knew
get pregnant?
that it was your 3 minutes of fame that had gotten her there?
Well, Your
Well, you're
Honor,
to meet up
her
with his
and the
cousin.
same friend
That's
that
how
was
it
at my
happened.
house was at his house.
Right.
That's how I know it was the same day.
Right.
Okay.
With 2 potential fathers out of 13 in court, it's hard to see how Ms. Myers could possibly find her father today. She clearly wants it to be Mr. Smith, but the odds of that happening are pretty low. And to make matters worse, her mom, Rusiawayos, caused this whole mess but doesn't seem to care. Well, the DNA test results are in, and boy did things escalate from there.
Mr. Keith McCraney, you are the father. Did you faint, Mr. McCraney?
Whoa.
No, they must have got their tests mixed up
You
or
are
something
the
backstage.
father.
There's no way. They must have got their tests mixed up or something.
Whoa.
Thank you for coming back in, Miss Myers. I know you're upset.
So these 2 brothers, Arthur and Eugene, think that their Uncle Ronnie might be their real dad. Turns out their mom, Allie, had a little thing going on with 2 brothers. Talk about keeping it in the family. Yikes.
Mr. Ellis, you and your brother have brought your mother to court today because you say you've always believed the man in this photograph is your father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Then, just recently, you learned that your biological father may actually be your father's brother.
Yes, Your
Allie's admitting she slept with both brothers, but she's saying she had no choice. I don't know about that. Sounds like she was living with Ronnie and just couldn't resist, if you ask me. And the way she's talking about staying alive and all that, it's like she was some kind of damsel in distress or something.
What about you?
That's my dad on the screen right there, John Ellis. He got to be my dad.
So, Miss Shivers,
Yes.
you admit you slept with both brothers.
Yes, Your Honor, I did. I had no choice. I had nowhere to go. And I ended up at Mama Mildred's house where Ronnie lived. We got intoxicated. We had a one-time thing, and that was it.
And then Ronnie shows up, and he's she's all like, I don't know if I'm talking to my son or my nephew. The judge is trying to make sense of all this, but it's just a tangled web of lies and secrets. The boys are devastated, which is understandable. I mean, finding out your whole life has been a lie, that's gotta be rough.
Mr. McClellan, thank you so much for joining us today, talking about the issues surrounding their paternity, and we're also here hearing testimony from Ms. Shivers that makes sense of all of the confusion. She said she slept with you and your brother, and now you may potentially be Arthur's father.
And then Allie drops another bomb, saying there might be a third potential dad, this Cool Breeze guy. Seriously, how many men was this woman messing around with? It's like she was running a one-woman dating service or something. Oh, and can we take a minute to think about how crazy the name Cool Breeze is?
After confusion and secrecy after secrecy, and your mother's openly saying, I was in a different space and time and trying to stay alive. I'm dating these older men. I'm this young woman. But as the story continues to unfold, potentially there could be another man that could be his father.
Allie's just sitting there, soaking it all in. She's not proud of the mess she's created, but it doesn't change the fact that she's a big part of why they're all there. The boys are really trying to hold it together, but you can tell they're hurting.
You and your brother to have the same dad? I see you're emotional. What are you feeling? You say you need
we
that.
gotta have the same dad.
It's emotional to both of us. We got into it, last night over it, find out our identity.
So they can go on.
And so
have a life.
this not knowing, this confusion is making issue with you as brothers?
Everything was based on a whole bunch of lies.
The DNA test results are in, and the judge is finally ready to reveal the results. And folks, the tension in that courtroom was off the charts. Everyone's holding their breath, waiting to find out the truth.
John Ellis is your father.
I knew that.
I have the results for Arthur as well. Are you ready? John Ellis is your father.
I know, that's why I'm here.
Sorry, Mom.
It's all right. I told you boys the truth.
So, gentlemen, you have the truth.
This paternity court episode was wild from the start. Ms. Matthews claims her ex-boyfriend, Mr. Moore, is the father of her 3-year-old daughter, Zania. But Mr. Moore is not so sure. He says Ms. Matthews was seeing other guys during their relationship, and he's not convinced little Zania is his.
Having an extremely complicated relationship with the defendant, Mr. Moore. Now you say you're here today to prove that he is your 3-year-old daughter, Zania's biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
She waited to notify you about her pregnancy because she was uncertain if her unborn child was yours.
Yes, Your Honor.
Right off the bat, the judge grills Ms. Matthews about why she waited 4 months to tell Mr. Moore she was pregnant. Ms. Matthews says she was having complications and didn't know if the baby would survive. Mr. Moore then pulls out some juicy evidence, a photo of Ms. Matthews kissing another guy. She also admits to busting Mr. Moore's car window out of anger over that photo.
So you were in a relationship with Mr. Moore.
Yeah.
Now he says you didn't tell him you were pregnant until 4 months.
No, we was on and off. I didn't tell him I was pregnant because it was something I went to the doctor in Alabama. So I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't tell some of my family members either because I didn't know what I was going to do.
Then Mr. Moore's niece, Miss Thomas, takes the stand. She drops a bombshell. She says Ms. Matthews is known around the neighborhood for getting around and even claiming to be pregnant by different guys before. Miss Thomas says she's seen Ms. Matthews with other men who look just like Mr. Moore. Whoa, so Ms. Matthews might be trying to pull a fast one here.
This picture,
This is
calling
a
his
window,
phone,
so it's okay to bust a
calling his
window
phone,
out.
and they're answering the phone, hanging up, playing, oh, B-word, you're mad, the tire, and I broke your back window.
Okay.
You're in a relationship, what you guys call a relationship. However, one Throwback Thursday, you post a picture, you kissing somebody else.
The craziness continues when Miss Thomas says Ms. Matthews' 3-year-old daughter, Zania, calls 3 different men Daddy. Ms. Matthews immediately shuts that down, saying Zania only calls her granddad Daddy. But Miss Thomas insists Zania has been seen sitting on the porch with a snotty nose and dirty clothes, implying Ms. Matthews isn't taking good care of her.
You have serious doubts as it relates to the paternity of Zania.
Absolutely. Nothing's good.
What is $20 a week?
$20 a week.
Or a month.
Okay, well, why don't you ask those guys?
And your
that put up
doubts,
in your
hold on.
driveway?
Why do you have doubt that your uncle is the father of Ms. Matthews' child?
Because Ms. Matthews, she gets around. The whole hood knows her. It's nothing new.
The judge tries to get things back on track, asking to see Zania's birth certificate. Surprise, surprise. Turns out Mr. Moore's name isn't even on it. He didn't sign it because he had doubts. Ms. Matthews claims Mr. Moore didn't even come to the hospital, but Mr. Moore says he did show up but left because he was already hearing the rumors about Ms. Matthews.
I've never been pregnant before, except for my daughter.
Saying that she was pregnant previous times.
Yeah, by different dudes.
Do you have any proof, not just known around the neighborhood?
Yes.
No, we said proof, not verbal.
The day after Prime, I seen her with some dude that looks exactly like my uncle. I'm like, Mrs. Matthews is here with some dude that looks just like you that I told you last time I seen her with.
The judge gives a heartfelt speech about how this is all about little Zania, not the adult's drama. She says Zania deserves better than this back and forth. Mr. Moore says he's ready to find out if he's the dad, but he's also got a whole life ahead of him regardless. Ms. Matthews gets defensive, accusing Mr. Moore is just partying and drinking all the time.
No. My best friend lives directly
Please look at my daughter.
from Mrs. Matthews. And
do y'all see what's happening to
guys coming in and out the house? There'll be guys coming in and outside the house, and Zanaya will just be sitting on the porch with her nose snotty and hungry.
Really?
And then every time she comes over, she has the same clothes on. Like,
she has a snotty nose and dirty clothes?
I mean, of course not right now, but
of course never.
Finally, it's time for the DNA results. Little Zania doesn't know it, but the envelope in Judge Lake's hands could change her life forever.
Mr. Moore, you are not her father.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking. I'm done. It's over with.
I mean, I'm not shocked.
I got my whole life ahead of me. I'm done. You know what I'm saying? I wish you the best.
My baby gonna be fine. I'll take care of my baby.
I wish you the best.
So, Ms. Matthews, I asked you several times if there could be another potential father, and you said no.
Oh, looks like we've got another case of a married woman cheating on her husband. This is gonna be messy. Judge Lake is about to get the tea on Miss Vargas and her shady behavior. Let's see. Miss Vargas admits to lying, saying she was trying to save her marriage. But now that it's over, she's ready to prove Angelari is the dad. Looks like she's just trying to get some child support out of this guy. Can't blame a girl for trying, I guess.
You know,
Miss Vargas were just friends at first, but then they started getting a little too close for comfort. Sounds like they had a little too much fun one night and ended up in the sack. Miss Vargas is trying to play the innocent card, but Mr. Angelari ain't buying it. He thinks she planned the whole thing to get pregnant. These two are really going at it. Judge Lake is trying to get to the bottom of this tangled web of lies. Turns out Miss Vargas was intimate with both her husband and Mr. Angelari around the time the baby was conceived. Yikes, talk about a love triangle gone wrong. Mr. Angelari is convinced Miss Vargas is the one who's lying, but she's sticking to her story. She's only coming to him now because her marriage fell apart. These two are really going back and forth, and it's getting pretty heated in that courtroom.
So, what you're—
Ouch, that's cold. But Miss Vargas says he was always making excuses and never showed up when he said he would. Looks like these two have a lot of trust issues to work through.
She told me, well, I want to try to work things out with my husband. I don't want him to try to do your thing. I moved up to Austin. One of my friends that lived down in the same area. So
Mr. Angelari's got a pretty good reason for why he kept pushing this. He didn't have a dad growing up, and he doesn't want the same thing to happen to this kid. That's actually kind of sweet, but Miss Vargas is still playing hardball. She's convinced Mr. Angelari's just after. Judge Lake is giving both of them a bit of a reality check. She's saying that even though Miss Vargas lied, Mr. Angelari still deserves a chance to be a dad. And she's right. This kid shouldn't have to suffer because of his parents' drama. The moment of truth is here. The DNA results are in, and it's time to find out if Mr. Angelari is really Dustin's father.
Mr. Angelari,
Wow, this was a doozy of a case on paternity court. Ms. Diaz was adopted by Mrs. Mendoza as a baby, and now she's desperate to find out who her real dad is. But it seems Mrs. Mendoza is trying to throw a wrench in the works.
Ms. Diaz,
Yes, Your Honor.
you've petitioned the court for the results of a DNA test, but you claim your adoptive mother, Ms. Mendoza, is trying to stop from discovering the truth.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Mrs. Mendoza, you state you doubt whether your adopted daughter has actually found her biological family.
Now Diaz explains that she never really fit in growing up. The other kids would pick on her for her darker skin tone. And then one day, her stepbrother let it slip that she was adopted. Ouch, that must have been a tough pill to swallow. Mrs. Mendoza, on the other hand, seems to think this is all just going to end in heartbreak for her daughter.
Was predominantly Mexican. They picked on me for my skin color, the texture of my hair. He would pick on me all the time. And he pointed out to me one day that I was adopted. I went and I asked my mom, Mrs. Mendoza, if it was true. I mean, it was a big blow to take, and I always had answers, always felt incomplete.
Turns out Mrs. Mendoza adopted Ms. Diaz when she was just 20 years old. Apparently, one of her ex-husband's friends got his mistress pregnant, and she didn't want the baby. So Mrs. Mendoza stepped in and took the little girl in, vowing to love her unconditionally. But now it seems Ms. Diaz is determined to find her real roots.
Heartbreaking, Your Honor, because I've done everything that I have for Leocelda, that her mother even knows who her biological father is. Her mother had a extramarital affair, and I don't believe Carl Honeycutt Sr. is the father, because at the same time I also heard that she had slept with several other men.
When Ms. Diaz was about to turn 15, she told Mrs. Mendoza that instead of a quinceañera, all she wanted for her birthday was to meet her biological mother. She's clearly been Ms. Diaz's rock her whole life, and now this. But Judge Lake makes a good point. Ms. Diaz has every right to know where she comes from, even if it's hard for Mrs. Mendoza to accept.
I never got that chance, and that's all I've ever wanted. I've always wanted to feel that bond. I feel a bond with her because she's always been there for me, but I also have the right to know who my real family is as well. Trying to hurt her in any way.
I have to acknowledge two things at this point. First, that you most certainly have the right to know.
Back in 2001, Ms. Diaz started searching for her biological dad, but didn't get any leads until 2013. That's when a guy named Carnell Honeycutt Jr. reached out, saying he thought they might be related. Mrs. Mendoza seems worried that if this Carnell guy turns out to be the dad, Ms. Diaz will just abandon her.
That we may share the same father.
Now, did you talk to your mother, Mrs. Mendoza, about this?
Definitely. I mean, I called her right away.
And what was your response, ma'am? How did you feel about?
I'm happy in a way that she's always wanted to know who her father was. And I don't want to deny her that. My fear, Your Honor, is that once she does find out.
When Ms. Diaz told Mrs. Mendoza about Carnell, her adoptive mom said she's happy Ms. Diaz wants to know her roots, but she's scared the results will just leave her heartbroken again. Oof, you can really feel the tension here. Mrs. Mendoza has done so much for Ms. Diaz, but now she's worried that all that love and sacrifice might not be enough.
I appreciate everything that you've ever done for me. Don't get that wrong. It's hard to explain to strangers that you're my mom. And with them going along and saying, oh, well, you don't look like her.
But Leocelda, blood doesn't make you family.
I know it doesn't, but I still have the right to know.
And then Mr. Honeycutt shows up in the courtroom, and it turns out his dad, Carnell Sr., is the one who told him he might have a child out there that was given up for adoption. Wow, this is getting juicier by the minute. Mr. Honeycutt says he and Ms. Diaz definitely favor each other, and he's excited to potentially have found his long-lost sibling.
How did you connect with her? You saw her ad.
I was talking to my dad. I was asking him, if he would ever have any more kids. Honestly, I possibly have another. He was like, yeah, this girl I used to date way back, she gave this baby up for adoption and never got to, see it because he didn't know if it was a girl or boy.
Ms. Diaz is a total emotional wreck, understandably. She's been searching for this connection her whole life, and now it might finally be within her grasp. But she's also worried about hurting her adoptive mom, who's been there for her through thick and thin. You can tell this is a really tough situation for everyone involved.
I mean, I thought one person was, and it turned out that wasn't the person. And then when he threw the name out there, I did hear that name, but I never thought to look for him.
Did she tell you that Mr. Honeycutt and his family had reached out to her?
Yes, ma'am, she did.
Did you, in your mind, remember anything from the past that this could potentially be the guy?
No, ma'am.
And then Mr. Mendoza, Ms. Diaz's adoptive dad, chimes in. He's clearly upset about this whole thing, saying it makes his wife upset and hurts the whole family. He just wants Ms. Diaz to quit searching, because every time it doesn't work out, it's just more heartbreak. Ouch, this guy is not holding back.
Put into words what you're feeling?
If the test comes out positive, I'm gonna be happy. I mean, it's been a long 30 years not knowing. I feel bad at times because I didn't want to hurt anybody doing this. It's just I have to know. I have to know so I can move on. I have to know so I can put this behind me.
And then the moment of truth, the DNA results are in. The judge reads them out, and that's when things got really interesting.
Whether Leocelda Diaz and Carnell Honeycutt are related as siblings is 0.6%, which means they do not share biological parents and are not siblings.
This is exactly what I was scared of, Your Honor.
He has to be my bloodline.
Why not find out in 2 months instead of almost 7 months?
I mean, you going through. I gotta know that he's my bloodline. He's going to take care of him.
He's going through Facebook to find out and asking people on the street, but he won't go
showed me.
DNA test to
Somebody
find
came
out.
to me and told me about it.
Mrs. Kelso here insists that she is just 22 years old when she in fact looks 40. But her age isn't the dispute she wants this court to settle. Instead, she has brought 2 men to court to figure out which one is her baby's child. One of the men, she says, could be her child's father. Jamal Davis says he is certainly not the baby's father because he has seen Miss Kelso with at least 10 other men. And here is how it all began.
Kelso, you are in court today to prove that Mr. Davis is the father of your 9-month-old baby, Connor Kelso.
Yes, Your Honor.
You claim Mr. Davis has done nothing for your son, so you're suing for half the child rearing expenses in the sum of $2,561. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, that seems like an easy maths question that we can figure out. Ms. Kelso has a calendar which she says proves that all of this happened during the window of conception, and her calendar does prove it. But what does Mr. Davis have to say about that?
Mr. Davis, does this look familiar? Were you with Miss Kelso on January the 7th?
As far as that particular date, I'm not for sure. I was definitely with her during that time frame, though. Yes, Your Honor.
You were?
Yes.
So, Miss Kelso, you admit that you were also with another man?
Yes, Your Honor. It was Mr. Hafner.
Without protection?
Yes, Your Honor.
Unfortunately, it is not so straightforward because Ms. Kelso was also intimate with another man during that time frame, but there is another line of evidence here. Mr. Davis is black, and this other potential father is white, and the baby's skin is getting darker, according to Ms. Kelso. Here is how she puts it.
When the child came late, did you ever think to yourself, maybe it's Mr. Hafner's child, not Mr. Davis?
I just go by the conception date, and by the way that my son looks, I see it in his skin color. The more I see his skin get darker, but that could also be Mr. Hafner's family because they're half Puerto Rican and they have dark children in their family as well.
Well, he certainly is away from you now, isn't he? So Ms. Kelso said he should stay away, and now she is crying in court that he actually stayed away. Talk about instant karma. And since then, Ms. Kelso has spent over $2,000 on raising the child. How much has Mr. Davis contributed to that? Can you guess? Because it is a lot of money. Okay, just kidding. It is just $10. But he has a very good reason for that.
Kelso, you say that he hasn't contributed at all to the child rearing expenses you've incurred thus far.
No, he has not. And I have put together a little draft of the expenses that I have had to purchase, things that I've had to buy for my son since he was born.
I'd like to see those. Did you bring the receipts for those purchases?
No, I did not.
How much did they cost?
They were very low cost, and I mean, some of them were dollars. I mean, no more than $10 for all of them.
Wait, hold up. Wait a second. Ms. Kelso says she stopped being promiscuous when she met Mr. Hafner, but she actually cheated on Mr. Hafner with Mr. Davis. So she clearly did not stop being promiscuous. But she has a really good excuse for doing that too, if you can believe it.
That was the exact date.
The exact date. That's the day I met him. That's the day that I started sleeping with him, and that's the day that I started dating him, the day I met his family. They're all here present today. And the only reason that Mr. Davis is in the picture is because I had been cheated on by Mr. Hafner, and so I cheated back with Mr. Davis.
Well, having revenge with your genitals is precisely the sort of thing that gets you here in front of all these people. And Mr. Davis talks a lot about Miss Kelso being promiscuous, but he still sleeps with her without protection. Isn't that insane? Well, you probably will not believe this, but he also has a good excuse for that too.
That's all I was interested in.
And were you using protection all these
No,
times?
we weren't, because she told me that she was medically unable to have children. And in the 4 months that we were together, she never so much as had a scare with her. And we met, I can count with one hand. I don't even need all 5 fingers on how many times we've used condoms. And all of a sudden she's pregnant.
Are you
and all
proud
of a sudden
of
I'm the father. No.
This does not even make any sense. Pregnancy is not the only reason why you should not wet hump without protection. There are like a trillion STDs that you could get infected with. Anyway, let us hear from the other man, Mr. Hafner.
Mr. Hafner, thank you for joining us today. I have to ask you, do you think baby Connor is your child?
That's what I think.
You do?
Yes, Your Honor.
And so, have you done anything for Connor thus far? Have you helped in raising him?
Yes, Your Honor. I have been feeding him, being there for him, showing him I love him.
Yeah, maybe. And I'm going out on a limb here. Maybe that is because they are only a few days old in that picture. Anyway, you get the sense that Mr. Davis wants to get out of being responsible for this kid in literally any way he can. Let us see if the DNA test result will grant him his wish.
Mr. Hafner, you are not the father. Mr. Davis, you are the father. Do you need to sit down, Miss Kelso? You need to sit down. Okay.
Ms. Sanders says you should never deny a pretty baby even if the baby isn't yours. She says that another man signed her baby's birth certificate, but she is now claiming that Mr. Brady here is actually the real father. not the poor guy who signed the birth certificate in the first place. The question now is, if Ms. Sanders could lie to that man, how do we know she is not lying now? Well, we are about to find out.
Ms. Sanders, you admit to having another man sign your 6-month-old son Caleb's birth certificate, but now say that Caleb's real biological father is the defendant, Mr. Jamarvis Brady.
Yes, Shauna.
You've petitioned the court for a DNA test to prove that Mr. Brady is your son's father.
Yes, Shauna.
Exactly. The baby could be pretty and still not belong to Mr. Brady. It is insane that Ms. Sanders here thinks that is a good enough reason for Mr. Brady to take care of Caleb. Let us pick Mr. Brady's mind for a moment. Why does he doubt this beautiful child is his?
Does he visit the baby?
I came through the neighborhood one day,
reason why
and he asked me if he could see my baby.
Why would I take care of a baby that's not mine? Why would I visit a baby that's not mine?
Look how pretty my baby is. How can you deny a pretty baby?
I don't care about the baby being pretty. I care about if the baby's mine or not.
Why would you
I take
wait
care
this
of my
long?
responsibility, not another man's.
That is a valid question. Green eyes don't just come out of nowhere, but maybe there are green eyes in Miss Sanders' family. And that is exactly the argument that Miss Sanders makes. She says green eyes ain't bigger in her part of town.
Starting with my grandparents, my grandma don't have green eyes. My granddaddy don't got green eyes. My mama or my daddy. Her either, obviously. Me, I definitely don't have green eyes. I'm trying to figure out where these green eyes come from that's on this baby.
Maybe Miss Sanders has green eyes.
How many times have women told the potential fathers of their kids to get lost, only to turn up on paternity court asking Judge Lauren to get those men to take responsibility? So many times. But Ms. Sanders says she has a good reason for doing that.
Because I didn't want to be with him no more. So he got mad because I got back with my ex. He said he don't want me, but he constantly takes my phone, somebody, so what's up?
I come to the house, dudes coming and going all the time. Like, I left her house.
How you gonna tell me that dude's coming and going, but you not?
I left her house and the dude came through, the same dude who she was texting.
How you gonna get
came through while I was pulling out.
This back and forth is tiring. Mr. Brady says that he was there for the pregnancy. Ms. Sanders says he is nothing but a dirty liar and that he was never there despite the pregnancy being so difficult. But Mr. Brady says that he did not care because he thought the child wasn't his. And he has a really dumb excuse.
Mr. Brady, I gotta ask you, she's going through a lot here. Why weren't you there?
Your Honor, when I tried to take care of him and all that, she told me she didn't need my help. And plus, why would I take care of a baby that's not possibly mine?
When I was pregnant, he never even cared. Only thing he cared about was some shoes. When I first told him that I was pregnant, I called Mr. Brady and I told him, I said, I'm pregnant, I want to let you know. He just sat on the phone.
Well, that is true, but you should have also thought about that before having unprotected intercourse with someone who can't even take care of himself. But more on that part about an ex signing the birth certificate.
But he says you had another man sign the birth certificate.
Yes, my ex-boyfriend, before me and Jamarvis got together, I was with someone. And to get back at my ex-boyfriend, me and Jamarvis started talking. So after me and him stopped talking, I got back with my ex. And my ex, he was real understanding. He was just saying, you know, we just gonna work through this. We gonna, you know, to have this baby, we gonna do what we have to do. And he was the one who was actually there when I had my baby.
Phew, this is a lot. So the other man has been tested, and Ms. Sanders says Mr. Brady is the only other option. Well, that means that he has to be the father, right? Well, let us see what the DNA test has to say about all of this. Is Mr. Brady the father, or is there someone else who could be the father?
Mr. Brady, you are not.
I told her that was my baby, Your Honor.
Sit down.
I told her.
Sit down over there. Stand right where you're standing.
I told her, Your Honor. I knew it was mine. 100% positive.
Miss Sanders, he said he was positive.
So who the
I don't
other
understand.
possibilities?
I really don't understand.
So it's not your ex's, it's not his.
It was no one else. It was no one else.
Had to be.
Ms. Janelle Craig has claimed 3 different men to be the fathers of her adult child, Chanel Craig. Today, Miss Chanel wants to know if the man she called father her entire life is actually her real biological father. The father in question, Tracy Thompson, also believed he was the real father, but now a shocking revelation has changed his mind. Let us listen to Miss Chanel.
Miss Janelle Craig, you are Miss Craig's mother. You admit to sleeping with more than one man at the
She had grown up thinking that her real father was Mr. Smith, but now she has reason to believe that it could be another man, Mr. Ware. Both men are in court today, and we are going to get to the bottom of this case with or without God's intervention. So let us get started with Ms. Webster herself.
I heard a relative say that that's not none of your father. So I started questioning. I asked my mom, I talked to Mr. Smith, like, why are they saying that I'm not a part of their family?
When you questioned Mr. Smith, what did he say?
He said, you will always be my daughter. I believe in my heart that you are, and no matter what, you'll always be my daughter.
Wow. And it doesn't end there. Ms. Webster says that relatives of Mr. Ware even signed on her birth book and brought presents. That means they at least suspected that Mr. Ware could be the father of Ms. Webster. But Mr. Ware says that he was always told that Miss Webster was another man's baby, and he basically took her word for it. And Mr. Ware got no information about the child either, and then they lost contact. And here is how Mr. Ware said it.
A couple of years after that, I went into the military.
Okay. And when you came back, no one said to you, you may have a child?
No one said that to me, and the mom had moved back to Ohio, so I never saw her for years.
Were you there when her mom was pregnant?
Yes, I was there when her mom was pregnant. As a matter of fact, we continued to date at that point.
Wow. Anyway, Ms. Webster then started searching for Mr. Ware after realizing that he could be her father. She went to his church and then poured out her heart to God to help her reveal if he was truly her father or not. And then this happened.
All right, so let's fast forward to the day you finally get to meet Mr. Ware.
We went to visit him at his church. I just been praying, that I find out who my father is. There's things in my life, there's roadblocks and stumbles I've been going through. There's things goals I'm achieving, and knowing who my father is one of them. And I came to the Lord. I went to the altar. They had altar call, and I went up and I just prayed that God give me a sign to reveal.
Whoa, that could be a miracle. But despite Ms. Webster's faith, that is not actually evidence that Mr. Ware is her father. In fact, it is not evidence of anything, and any court would throw that testimony out. But Ms. Webster says that Mr. Ware has to feel it too, because he is a deacon and a spiritual person. But Mr. Ware insists that he knew nothing about it.
When I was down, no, I didn't know who was standing there when I got up. I get up and I turn around and he's right there. So, something, it's got to be some energy, it's got to be something. It can't be in vain. You are a deacon, right?
Yes, I am.
And he's a spiritual person.
Did I know it was her? Did you know it was Miss Webster, this baby?
I did not.
That you knew before she even left the womb? Did you know?
No, I did not know at that time.
So Ms. Webster feels a connection, but Mr. Ware feels absolutely nothing. Wow, that is cold. And then Mr. Ware drops a line that makes everyone in the courtroom shiver. He looks Ms. Webster right in the eyes and says this.
So you did not feel a connection like this could be my daughter? The way in which she says your mother reacted when she met her and said, what took you so long?
No, Your Honor, I did not. The fact of the matter is that you are not my child. I love you like a child.
That must be so painful for Ms. Webster, but you can tell that there is no malice in his voice. He just truly believes that Ms. Webster is not his child, and that is that about that. Now, let us hear from Mr. Smith, who basically raised Ms. Webster. What does he have to say about all of this?
Thank you for joining us, Mr. Smith. As you know, we're here discussing the paternity as it relates to Ms. Webster. You have been paying child support.
Yes, I have.
But you don't believe you're her biological father.
No, I don't. I can tell you why.
Please.
Miss Webster was born September the 17th, which means that she had to be conceived either late December or January of 76 or late December of 75. I was in the United States Army, stationed in Fort Hood, Texas.
Wow. So how did he end up paying child support? Well, Mr. Smith said he just did it because he was raised to do the right thing and because he was also naive. That is insane. Thankfully, Ms. Webster's mom is also in court today, and here is her side of this insane story.
Mr. Smith also came home on leave. Once we got together, Mr. Smith went back to the service, and then I was pregnant. When Mr. Smith called me one day, I said, you know what? I'm pregnant.
I've never received that call, Your Honor.
Yes, you did.
When I come home from the military, I got a letter in the mail stating that I had to come down to the child support. When I got there, Miss Webster was like, Miss Brady was there.
That is a lot. So who is really telling the truth? Ms. Brady here says she has no doubts that Mr. Smith is her baby's father. She is positive and certain that the father is Mr. Smith. Well, let us see who the father really is. The DNA test result is the only way to clear up this entire story.
Mr. Smith, you are not her father. Are you surprised?
Hurt? Yes. Surprised? No.
I thank you for everything that you've done for me.
Always, baby.
I appreciate you. And like you said.
Always. Always, sweetie.
You just told me you were sure.
I thought I was sure. I thought I really had it in my heart that Mr. Smith was her dad.
When I was born, I was pale. But wait, look at her lip. Why does her lip look so fat? That's not my lip. My lip does not look like that. Oh, no, it does not. So from that time in, I put it in my head. I'm like, wait, okay. And then you had people inboxing her saying, oh, that's not your husband's baby.
Your Honor.
It doesn't look like him.
Mrs. Brogdon slept with the brother of her potential baby daddy. And now that the baby daddy is deceased, poor Mrs. Brogdon wants his family to step up and take care of her daughter. But that family is saying, uh-oh, we aren't doing that till we get a blood test. And that's why they are in court today. Let us begin.
I don't think that's my brother's baby. I don't.
Why?
Tamisha, first of all, slept with 2 of my brothers. So that's what left me like, I can't trust anything she says, honestly. I mean.
She slept with
2 of my brothers.
2 of them?
2 of my brothers.
And that's true, Ms. Brogdon?
Yes, Your Honor.
But you're in court saying that just Tyrell is your daughter's father.
Yes.
If you slept with the other brother too,
yes.
Could he potentially be the child's father too?
No, Your Honor.
Oh, so that happened. She slept with 2 brothers, and there's a possibility that either of them could be the father. I mean, with all of this going on, one can say that Ms. Brogdon was really put in the family way. When asked why she decided to reach out after a full year, seeing that baby Kwamira is 1 year old, here is what Ms. Brogdon had to say.
She only see them when it's time for gatherings and stuff about Tyrell. It's hard. My baby had a seizure. She been sick. I've been going through everything with her. I have 5 kids, and she's my 5th one, and I'm struggling. Didn't have a job since I have her. Like, I have no help at all.
And this is really difficult for you to raise her alone.
Yes.
One would think that if you had 4 kids at 25 with no job and no financial support, you'd stop. Tyrrell's sister insists that the baby does not belong to Tyrrell or any of her brothers, in fact. She goes on to add that Ms. Brogdon needs to move on away from their family to find her daughter's real father.
You were in a relationship with Tyrell?
Yes.
You were?
Mm-hmm.
Explain to me the nature of that relationship.
Me and Tyrell, we were together for like 3 years. Like close to the end, Tyrell started cheating. He started staying out. He started doing all this type of stuff. It was one night, Tyrell lied and said he was at the police district. I went to the police district to check to see if he was there. He wasn't there. I went to his grandmother's house where he said he was there. He was not there.
What an absolute joke. So, she'd been in a relationship with the deceased for 3 years. However, one night he's not available and he's unresponsive to her calls. Then, she happens to have some alcohol and decides to sleep with his own brother simply because he was available. What was the brother even thinking?
How do you end up dating one guy, you're dating this guy, and then you sleep with his brother?
Because you're mad.
Because
you're
just
mad.
for the anger?
Yes.
And so you did it to get back at him?
I've been through a whole lot with Tyrell out of the 3 years. It was not just him lying and staying the night out. No, it's more than that.
Ms. Sugden, you're saying you've heard personally that she was sleeping with 2 brothers around the same time.
Ms. Sugden says that Ms. Brogdon tore their family apart, as Tyrell and Paul kept at each other's throats until the end. Now Paul is living with guilt, knowing that he slept with his deceased brother's girlfriend, and he was so upset about getting a paternity test done. What a guy.
She called me and said she had the baby. Tiara was at my house. I said, Tiara, she had the baby, want to go? Oh, what I'm going to the hospital for? Right then and there, y'all could have got a DNA test done on that day.
Why didn't Mish call? Why is she going through you all the time? She's a grown woman.
You're right. Why did she go through me? But
y'all going through you about every single
Y'all
thing.
hate me.
But you're a grown woman. If you want somebody to help you with your child, you be a woman about it.
Looks like Deanna and Ms. Brogdon may be quite close, considering that she came to court as her witness. Deanna told Tyrell's sister about the baby, and she absolutely refused to come to the hospital and get a paternity test done. There's another witness in court today, Tiara Jones, the second sister of Tyrell. Oh, the things she has to say.
What do you know about this firsthand?
I was told not only from Ms. Chambers, but another mutual friend that she had her other's baby daddy. Last name was Jones. And originally, Kwamira was named after him and not Tyrell Jones. So it's just a coincidence that both of their last name is Jones, but at first I heard that he was there.
Wait, there's another Jones in the picture? Well, okay, Ms. Brogdon. It looks like this woman has been working overtime to get her baby that last name. After all of the bickering from the women in court, we finally get the verdict, and this time it comes with a little twist.
First part of this testing is to determine whether or not either brother has fathered your child.
Right.
The second level, if we make that determination, will be to determine which brother, in fact, fathered your child.
Now, everyone's on their toes, and it feels as though the tension in court can be cut through with a knife. It's time to figure out who the father of this baby is, and that's why we have the DNA test results.
It has been determined by this court. Miss Christina Jones is related to Kwamira Jones. Mr. Paul Jones is not the father.
I'm sorry.
Which means
I'm sorry.
Tyrell Jones is Kwamira's biological father.
I'm sorry.
Mr. Moore insists that Ms. Matthews here was having an affair when he was sleeping with her, and as a result, he is certain he isn't her baby's father. Ms. Matthews says that excuse just won't fly, and that Mr. Moore has to step up. Well, both are in court today, and here's how their case starts.
Furthermore, you're asking the court to award you $285 in damages for a broken car window, which you say Ms. Matthews destroyed in a jealous rage.
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, what a woman. Mr. Moore has been very intentional about avoiding contact with baby Zanya until he is certain that he's the baby daddy. When asked about the nature of their relationship, this is what he had to say.
For Neat, in the beginning, we were cool. When I met her, she was a party girl, all the way up to date.
Okay, so then you started a sexual relationship.
Yep.
Were you ever in a committed relationship?
Absolutely. She told me that she was pregnant, but she waited 4 months to do it. Keep in mind, we stayed using condoms all the time, 24/7.
No.
We stayed using condoms, unless I was just out of it one night.
Mr. Moore claims that she did not tell him he was pregnant until she was about 4 months gone. That's about halfway through the pregnancy. However, she insisted that she was having complications with her pregnancy.
We can stop playing victim, though.
So I didn't show you the papers?
I got these papers.
Papers of what?
Her
Your
uploading
Honor?
pictures with the guy who was presumably, he could be the dad.
Okay, Jerome, let me see that evidence Mr. Moore is presenting. So let me understand this. You say this is Ms. Matthews kissing another man.
Yeah.
During the time that you thought you were together.
In her defense, there's more to this story. She was trying to reach him over the phone one day, and he was available. Next thing she knew, he posted an incriminating picture of himself with another woman. This led her to do something so alarming, it shocked the entire court.
What picture did you post? And the reason I did bust the window out is because I was calling his phone about this picture.
This is
calling
a
his
window,
phone,
so it's okay to bust a window
phone, and they're answering the phone, hanging up, playing, oh, B word, you're mad. Woo-doo-woo. So yes, I was pregnant, and I went to his house.
Your Honor, exhibit number 2.
It was a brick by the tire, and I broke your back window.
Okay.
She completely shattered the rear view window of his car. That is not okay under any circumstances. Ms. Matthews used her being pregnant and really angry as an excuse. Oh, but what this man served right back in return. You will not see this coming.
When I put the picture on Instagram, he came to my job, bust a window. He had to get escorted by Cleveland police. He almost got me fired. I was suspended for 3 weeks with no pay with your child, and you didn't help and do nothing.
Your Honor, she left out the part about her being with her ex, though.
Woo! Oh, so it was a mutual thing. Looks like these two are in the wrong court right now. Paternity court is filled with terrorists and little vandals today, it'll seem. Mr. Moore brought in his niece as a witness. She had a lot to say.
She's got guys coming in and out.
My best friend lives directly
Please look at my daughter.
from Mrs. Matthews. And
Do
there
y'all see
will
what's
be
happening to
guys coming in and out the house.
No.
We'll be sitting on the porch, and there'll be guys coming in and outside the house, and Zanaya will just be sitting on the porch with her nose snotty and hungry.
Really?
And then every
What?
time she comes over, she has the same clothes on. Like, my uncle is giving her money,
Oh my
and
God.
like, what are you
Can
doing?
you please
You're
just
not
look at my
spending it on
daughter,
your
Your
daughter.
Honor? Do it look like she has a snotty nose and dirty clothes?
Finally, the results are in, and just as dramatic as the entire case the court is presented with today, you can be sure that the results are dramatic as well.
Mr. Moore, you are not her father.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm done. It's over with.
I told you. I mean, I'm not shocked.
I got my whole life ahead of me. I'm done. You know what I'm saying? I wish you the best.
My baby gonna be fine. I'll take care of my baby.
I wish you the best.
Ms. McDaniels and Mr. Wells suffered an abominable tragedy. 6 months ago, they lost Anthony Wells, their 3-year-old son. After the tragic loss, the grief hit their home hard. To make matters worse, Mr. Wells has been doubting the paternity of their 2 kids, aged 2 and 11 months. He accused Ms. McDaniels of infidelity on very funny grounds.
I'm grieving too, we both lost a son, but it's just the rumors and everything that I can't deal with it no more.
How long have you been hearing rumors?
I've heard them since the first one was born, the one we lost.
So since you all basically got together and started having children, you've heard rumors that your wife is with someone else.
Yes, that my kids belong to somebody else.
And who told you that?
My ex.
Oh, as a man married for so many years and has been with her for so much longer, he's still listening to his ex and no other additional source tells him that his wife is not faithful? Ms. McDaniels should be the one worried here, if anything.
She was like that, Megan is the thought of the place where they work at.
But this is your wife she's talking about.
Yes, yeah.
So she just decides she's gonna call you out the blue and tell you your wife is a thought.
I mean, well, not out the blue, but she heard that she was pregnant. So she was like, I just want to let you know that might not be your baby.
Oh, so she was warning you.
Yeah.
And so when she told you this, did you have reason to believe or to suspect?
At first I didn't, no.
The only thing it'll seem Mr. Wells has against Ms. McDaniels is that she had an unpleasant encounter with a man in a club years ago, before they got married. Sounding like a broken record, just like all the men that have ever been in paternity court, he also believes that he does not look like the children.
All of my kids, they all favor me in some way, you know.
He has told my daughter, I'm not your daddy, go find your daddy.
What?
I did not say that.
Mr. Wells.
I did not say it. It's his skin tone. He got ginger hair, and he's too light. He is too light.
Well, I mean,
now,
his mother is white now.
I mean, but
Your Honor, he calls him white boy. That's not acceptable.
He calls him what?
White boy, and that's not acceptable.
Well, that is some interesting way to address babies. He went on to say that little Daryl is too light-skinned with ginger curly hair, and he, the supposed father, does not have those attributes. Like all of that is not comical enough, he brought this to court to further prove his point.
It's just the way my head is built with like a roller coaster. You know, it has a lump in the middle. You know, most of my kids, they have that. All of them. As you can see, mine is the same way. As for little Daryl, his head is more flat and his hair is ginger, like a reddish hair. I've never had that in my family.
So you have a roller coaster head.
Yes.
That's what you call it.
Yes.
Because there's a dip in it.
Interesting words from a pretty interesting guy. Alongside these two children, Mr. Wells also has 5 more kids from other women in between these two who all have roller coaster heads. Isn't that something? After all of this, the results are revealed.
Mr. Wells, you are the father. You look relieved.
I am very relieved, very relieved.
18-month-old Daryl Wells. Mr. Wells, you are the father.
Ms. McKinney is probably the worst woman to ever appear on paternity court, and that's saying a lot. Her husband found a sex tape of her and another man, but she still insists that her child, Amira, belongs to him. Now, what are the odds of that being true? Let's find out.
You testify that his paternity denial is tearing you apart. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Brown, you say there is no way you are Amira's biological father after finding a sex tape of your wife with another man. You now intend to prove he fathered Amira. We'll meet that man in a moment.
Oh, how spicy is that? Amidst all of the doubt, even though all the odds are against her, it's a respectable thing that Ms. McKinney is being very honest with the court today. It looked really difficult to do so, but she gathered her thoughts and had this to say in court.
And I can see that you are really hurting right now. I can see the tears. What are you feeling, Miss McKinney? Oh my goodness, she's just gorgeous. What are you feeling?
I just hope that he's the father of Amira Brown.
Hope that he is?
Yes.
So are you saying that you really don't know, but you truly hope?
Yes.
Mr. Brown does not seem at all moved by this. He stands his ground, saying that he still does not believe he is the father of baby Amira. When she was born, she never looked like him. He gave it time too, but each day, he looks at her, takes pictures of, and with her. More and more, it still does not seem like she is his daughter.
She has his face, and it bothers me a lot.
So you feel Amira looks like the man you saw on the sex tape with your wife?
Yes, I do. More and more every day, I see Amira's face and his face, and it bothers me a lot. And not only that, she looks like more than one person than just him. People in his family she looks like.
It's wild enough that his wife has a sex tape with another man. He found it himself. Even worse, he keeps seeing the man's face in his 11-month-old daughter. Now he's saying there's more men, and Ms. McKinney is not denying it. Well, dang. This man has not been having a good time these past few months. This was how he found out about the tape.
One day, the girls, they like snatching her phone, so they grabbed her phone. Before they came against the video, I grabbed it, and it pressed play, and I seen the beginning of the video, and I didn't see what I liked, so I just disclosed it. I didn't watch the whole video.
The video came up, or you went looking to see what was in her phone?
I was scrolling through her pictures, whatever, and before they could even get to it, I grabbed the phone.
Oh, because you knew it was something inappropriate.
Yeah, it didn't look right. It didn't look right. It looked like a video. video, so.
Now it's bad that she cheated on her husband. Ms. McKinney didn't just do that. She recorded herself doing it too. Afterwards, she saved the video and casually had it sitting around in her phone. What a woman. Talk about really breaking the bias. This woman is shattering every dimension of evil there is.
How do you end up with another man doing a sex tape?
I mean, at the time, me and Mr. Brown was off and on.
How did you meet the other man?
I met him on a dating website. We started talking online, and then I finally met him in person, and he came to my house.
So how often were you sexually active with this man?
10 times.
And now, Mr. Brown, you believe this man is the father of Amira.
That's showing us.
I think we need to meet that man.
I think so too, Judge Lake. She took the words right out of all our mouths. When Mr. Jonathan Fowler came to the witness stand, he told the court how they'd been talking on a dating website, but the day he met her for the first time, she was with her husband. Oh my.
He was there?
Yes.
So how did the sexual relationship start with Miss McKinney?
Me and Miss McKinley been having sex.
It's Miss McKinney.
Oh, Miss McKinley.
You don't even know her last name?
Me and Miss McKinley been having sex the whole 2016.
You say you're in a year-long affair.
I met Miss McKinley the ending of... I met her the ending of 2015 going to 2016.
All the odds are against Ms. McKinney, or shall I say Ms. McKinley, and Mr. Fowler by extension. Ms. McKinney told Mr. Fowler that she wasn't in any relationship at that moment, and they went on to be intimate for an entire year without protection. In the middle of all this, the funniest thing happens.
What did she tell you exactly?
That she's pregnant and she's ready to give birth.
So who did she say the father was?
She didn't tell me
I said it was complicated.
I believe it was complicated because, like I said,
I was back and forth with him and him.
that sex
back
tape
and forth.
was April 9th, and Amira was born April 9th.
Did that math add up?
No.
So now, is Fowler the daddy or not? Ms. McKinney tries to explain her conception date and the B-day the baby was born to the court. She tries to link it to who she was intimate with at that particular time. As it would turn out, she was off and on with both men throughout that period. Woo.
So now take me to the birth. When Amira was born, where were you? Were you there?
I was present.
You were?
Yes, I was, Your Honor.
And did you sign the birth certificate?
No, I did not.
I refused to let him sign it.
I said no because Amira didn't look like me. That's why I said no.
That too.
Why did you refuse?
Because since we're married and I get public assistance, they're gonna try to hit him with child support.
But you all were legally married. So why would he have to be on the hook for child support if you're legally married?
I didn't want him to sign a birth certificate.
Complicated as it is, Fowler has not even stated anything about being interested in the baby, whether or not it ends up being his. Mr. Brown, however, has done an entire experiment to prove to the court that Amira is not his baby. This was the nature of his experiment.
You said you immediately had doubts.
Yeah, when I looked at Amira, I said, hey, when I was born, I was pale. But wait, look at her lip. Why does her lip look so fat? That's not my lip. My lip does not look like that. Oh, no, it does not. So from that time in, I put it in my head, I'm like, wait, okay, if she's not mine, then she gotta be Mr. Jonathan's child, because she started looking more and more like him. And then you had people inboxing her saying, oh, that's not your husband's baby.
Oh, he's not finished yet. He goes on to say that it looks like she has his deceased father's head shape, but when she smiles without teeth, she undoubtedly looks like Mr. Fowler.
Without no teeth, she has his face. I see it myself every day, so I know I'm not just going crazy and saying, oh, this is not my child. No.
You have done a full scientific study on this.
I sure have.
And you know, I believe you because I could tell in the beginning of your testimony that it was bothering you. I can see how much it's been weighing on you.
What a guy. However, in a very funny twist, we see that Ms. McKinney is pregnant again, and this time Mr. Brown believes it is his child. The court is shocked, confused, as it looks like Mr. Fowler is calling dibs on this particular baby. Here's the funny conversation that ensued between them.
Not only that, she's pregnant with my child now, so it's like.
You said now you're having another baby?
Yes.
I may be the father, right?
No, that's my child.
But let me ask you, could you be the father?
No.
Oh, thank goodness. Okay. So, do you believe you are Amira's father?
No, I do not.
When's the last time you were intimate with Miss McKinney?
2017 of April.
That's a whole year before Amira was born.
Right.
Well, oh well. What's going to happen now? Who is the daddy? There's just one way to find out, and that is why we are here in the first place. Finally, the results are out, and we get to end all of this drama.
Mr. Fowler, you are not the father.
Thank you. Thank you.
He's not the father, Mr. Brown.
Okay, I was like to say I apologize. I apologize.
I'll accept your apology.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
You're welcome, Your Honor.
Oh, did I say we'd end the drama? It looks like the drama is not going anywhere. What exactly was Ms. McKinney's reaction? It's interesting to think about there being another man in the mix somehow. Now, here are the final results. Oh, you definitely did not see this coming one bit.
Mr. Brown, you are not the father. Ms. McKinney, are you okay? Jerome, help her. I need to ask you, do you know who her father is?
No.
Well, I need to ask this respectfully. How many other possibilities are there? Do you remember? Are the father.
Yeah! I just told you! I just told you! I didn't mess around.
Don't sit down. Don't stay here and try to do it because the first time me and you met, you sat in our car and you begged. Literally, you begged for it. Don't try it.
Our people historically were used to be baby factories. A man like you, a tall, young, handsome black man like yourself, would be on a plantation making babies, right?
Miss Short is a teenage girl with a 21-month-old son. Her mother opened the court case on her behalf to prove that Mr. Johnson is the father of baby Jabari. Of course, Mr. Johnson denies that he's the father here.
Mr. Johnson, you are in court with your mother and say you might have been the plaintiff's first love, but you weren't the only one. You refused to do anything for her son until the DNA results prove you are his biological father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, it seems like we have love in the court today. She got pregnant by her first love. Isn't that something? There's another man in the picture too? Spicy. Additionally, Ms. Short mentions in her testament that she needed help. What could that possibly mean?
Ms. Short, you say you need help.
Yes.
Explain.
Yes, because he's the father of my son, and my son, as a boy, need a father figure. And I need extra help, like while I'm in school.
We got to do this for Jabari. Stop. She just need to know, is he the father? So he can step up and do the right thing, hopefully.
What an emotional moment. Mrs. Short's mother adds that she stopped Mr. Johnson from coming over to their house. She did this because she did not want them to have any feelings for one another, added to the complications that already exist. Little did she know. She says she does not need them getting attached to one another in case Mr. Johnson isn't the biological father.
How did you meet?
Well, it was on Facebook, and we used to text. He was my first kiss, first everything.
Okay, so after you met, you all started having sex, and at some point, you find out you're pregnant.
Yes. Me and Mr. Johnson had sex April 23rd.
What a tale indeed. Seeing that Jabari is 21 months old, all of this happened about 2 years ago. Ms. Short is still telling her story. Here's what she has to add.
I seen him on Facebook with another female, and he was like, I don't want you, I want her. He was talking about the other female. And I was like, he just left. He just left me. After that happened, it was May 3rd. I went out to eat with some friends. And that night, I had met the other boy. And this is not my first time meeting him, but this is the first time we ever had sex.
Now we get to meet this other mystery man. What a tale about lovers we get to hear. It looks like she had a little affair with the other man to get back at Mr. Johnson for leaving her. After she found out she was pregnant, she equally told Mr. X about it and how there's a possibility he's the father. However, Ms. Short really believes in her heart that Mr. Johnson is the father.
Did you realize Ms. Short was even pregnant?
See, Your Honor, I was away. I found out she was pregnant 6 months into her pregnancy.
Okay. And were you informed that you were the biological father?
Yes, ma'am. She told my mom and dad she was pregnant and I could be the father. So at the time, I'm thinking that the baby's mine.
The spotlight is on Mr. Johnson. After finding out quite late that she was pregnant, he was ready to accept the baby as his own and be a father. However, for God knows what reason, Ms. Short's friends told him about Mr. X and how there's a high possibility Mr. Johnson is not the father.
You know how they making me feel. I was there to see the baby conceive. I was the one that had the baby. I was there. When she called me and asked me for stuff, I was there to help her. I was there. Her own mother was not in the hospital room with her when she had her baby.
I sure wasn't, because I wasn't happy about the situation.
Well, it don't matter.
It does matter. You just full of it.
You
full
is
of
too.
it, honey.
Ladies,
you very
Okay, to the moms, hold on.
I hope he's not the dad.
Let this young man talk.
What an interesting turn of events. Mr. Johnson adds that he is ready to be there for the baby if it's his, but he just has too many doubts at the moment. As it would turn out, Ms. Short's friend, who went around telling everyone about the second father, is not who we think she is.
He may not be the child's father?
Your Honor, it was an ex-friend. I thought she was my friend. She was like, because I was like, it was a possibility. So I was like, I'm scared to let the moms know. She was like, you need to let them know so it won't be any confusions when the baby get here. After that, I called her and I said, it's a possibility that Mr. Johnson can be the father of my son.
After telling Mr. Johnson's mother about the baby, she came to support Ms. Short alongside her son with 2 boxes of Pampers at the baby shower. This gesture hurt Ms. Short's mother because raising baby Jabari is really expensive, and according to her, this is the only way they have shown any form of support so far.
It's been a struggle, let me tell you. I've been raising him. I've been doing the best I can. It's very, very expensive. I guess he have babies for trophies. He don't pay child support for none of his kids.
And I didn't go for child
None
support.
of them.
So this has been very difficult on you to have to raise the child without any financial support from a father.
Apparently, while all of this was going on, Ms. Short's mother was actively preventing Mr. Johnson from seeing Ms. Short. It's common knowledge at this point that she's not a fan of the man, but that's not the entire story. She threatened to call the police on him as well if he came over again. Now she's bringing him to court, telling him to step up. What a woman.
All I want to say is I just want to know the truth. For if he is mine, I will be there for him. And I just don't want to be in the mix of this is that, that's that. I don't want to be in the midst. I just want to know the truth. That's all I want to know.
So he's almost 2 now. Who's been his father?
My mom, my dad, my sister, and my family. It's just been my family.
What a supportive family, really. Mr. Johnson, on the other hand, is saying that he will indeed step up when he sees he is the father. Afterwards, Judge Lake says the one thing that has been at the tip of all our tongues.
I have done my best to be patient. I have been frustrated. I have been trying to be compassionate because you all are young people, and now you've gotten yourself into this whole big drama with adult situations and adult problems. You can't even string 2 good sentences together in this courtroom about the situation.
She took it right out of our mouths. A teenager and a 20-year-old are in court to determine the paternity results for a 21-month-old baby. That means Mr. Johnson was a teenager too when he had relations with Ms. Short. However, Judge Lake is not done with all she has to say. The conversation that ensues is mind-blowing.
Mr. Johnson, you say you got more than 1 child. How many children do you have?
I have 4. With Jabari, I have 5 in all.
So you got 4 other children.
Yes, ma'am.
And Jabari would make 5?
Yes, ma'am.
Can I
And you're 20 years old?
All these are not his kids, you want. They're not his. They're not his. I wish they could do blood tests too, but they don't want to.
Well, oh boy, Judge Lake is on a roll. So when exactly did Mr. It's Hot in My Pants start having children? This is definitely something.
To be the father means that you admittedly slept with these women without protection, because if you use protection, you would know that's not me. Right.
Yes,
and so that goes back to my point of you all are young people, potentially 5 children at 20 years old. That's unacceptable. You all aren't dating anymore, are you?
No, Your Honor.
Now finally, the results are out. Everyone's on the edge of their seats, and we're ready to hear the verdict.
Mr. Johnson, you are the father. I'm glad you will.
This all I want to know to get all the other extra stuff out the way.
You have to.
It shouldn't have took this.
But no, Miss Short, this happens in life.
Yes.
It should not have taken this.
Lorraine and her mother, Miss Gant, are in court today to prove that Mr. Booker is the biological father of Lorraine Booker. 34-year-old Lorraine begins saying that her childhood was filled with pain and bullying. The only man she has in her life is her father, and all she's asking for is his love. Mr. Booker is not having any of it, as he believes that he's just a good man who's getting taken advantage of.
Mr. Booker, you say you're just a good man who's getting taken advantage of. You claim the plaintiffs know you have a good heart and a heavy wallet, and you cannot give any more money to a child who does not belong to you. Is that
That's correct, Your Honor, yes.
It gets even more interesting. We get to find out why exactly they're having this conversation after 34 years of Lorraine's life. And it's not pretty.
It's about money, Your Honor. He told me that he'll write me out his will if he even found out that I was his daughter or not.
Wait, but all of these years, you believe this man was your biological father?
Yes, I did. I mean, he helped my mom raise me up until now. Now, all of a sudden, you know, it's like I'm not his kid.
Well, oh boy, now that we see that it's about the money from one side of the story, it's time we heard from both sides. Mr. Booker had a lot to say on the matter.
So, Mr. Booker, is it about the will?
Part of it is, yes.
It is?
Yes.
And do you also agree that she's 34 years old and you know that it was her understanding that you're her biological father?
Your Honor, I raised Lorraine and my other daughter, Rashida, mainly by myself the last part of their lives. Miss Gant was nowhere in the picture. Now, as far as the will is concerned, yes, if Lorraine is not my biological daughter.
Now, we see it's all about money intentionally from both parties. Even if he raised Lorraine as his child, he's never thought of her as his own, he said. What a thing to say after 34 years. Here's a little rewind into the past. Now the light is on Ms. Gant and Mr. Booker, and here's the tea.
In a relationship with Ms. Gant?
Yes, Your Honor. We had a relationship. We lived together. I came home from work one day during a lunch break. I saw a guy come out of my apartment building.
That's not true.
Running, fastening his pants up. I get upstairs. I say to Ms. Gant, I said, who was that came out of our apartment? She says, oh, that was from the lady from next door, and that wasn't from the lady next door. The following month, Ms. Gant became pregnant.
Ms. Gant denies every single accusation of being with another man. She says that she did tell him about how Lorraine indeed isn't his. She adds that she says it only to punish him since he knows he would be bothered about a baby. He's used to not being his.
Did you say that, Ms. Gant?
Yes, ma'am. You know how to push buttons. He had pushed some buttons on me, and I turned around and pushed buttons on him because I knew if I said something about his daughter, that would make him mad. He is get child support on me. He sold my house for back child support and made me homeless.
What a guy. After they broke up, Mr. Booker took physical custody of Lorraine. Because of this, Mrs. Gant had to pay child support to him. That's how he got custody of her money too. Meanwhile, with all of this happening, young Lorraine thought she was simply living with her father. But oh, you did not see the next bit coming?
When I was in high school, I was pregnant. I got pregnant at 16. And I didn't know how to tell him that. He told me and my sister Rashida that if we was to ever get pregnant, that we was grown and we would have to move out. So when I told him that I was pregnant, he was like, well, I don't really think you're my daughter anyway.
Lorraine adds that he kept telling her that his other daughter is his favorite child. As a defense, he'll add that every parent has a favorite.
What I understand is she felt left out all of these years. She felt like she was not your favorite. You are now validating that feeling that she was not your favorite. Do you believe this choice that Rashida or this your other daughter was your favorite was rooted not just in the fact that she was your firstborn, but that you believe that she was your true biological child and you believe Ms. Booker was not?
Well, the DNA test results are out. Let's get to the bottom of this mystery once and for all.
Mr. Booker, you are the father.
Yes! Yes! I told you! I told you! I told you! I didn't mess around.
I apologize. I'm sorry. I love you. Come here to me.
Thank you, Jehovah. Thank you.
Miss Crow is in court today to prove the paternity of her 2-year-old son, Thomas. The potential father, J.C. Turner, is deceased, and in his place stands his mother, Mrs. Reinhart, in court. Miss Crow needs her son to at least know who his father is. Mrs. Reinhart is not having any of it, as she keeps sabotaging all her efforts, calling the baby's mother a liar and manipulator.
You say Miss Crow used your son for money when he was alive, and now it's trying to claim him as her son's father only to get death benefits. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Miss Crow, are you doing this just for the money?
It is more than just the money. I would like help with my son, yes, of course, but my son cannot grow up and meet his father.
Baby Thomas currently has no knowledge of his father, apart from the few times when Ms. Crow spoke to the late J.C. Turner over the phone. When Mrs. Reinhart was asked about the origin of her doubts, here is what she had to say.
In the time period, the time frame she said she was, when she told me she was pregnant, it didn't happen that way. There's no way she could have been just 2 weeks pregnant and had a stomach firm as she did.
You're saying she couldn't have a stomach as firm?
I mean, after 2 weeks, you don't have a stomach as firm as that.
And so she had just met your son? You were meeting her for the first time?
Isn't that interesting? She added that her son had a very tight relationship with her and she knew him inside and out. J.C. Turner told her everything, even when nobody else was around.
My son and I had a very tight relationship, and Jay would tell me everything when nobody else was around. I knew my son inside and out, and I just don't, as a mother, as a grandmother, having 4 babies of my own, my gut tells me this is not my grandson. I do not see my son in that.
Looks like we just have to find out if her gut is right or her spidey senses are acting up. Ms. Crow gives more insight on the nature of their relationship and how they met.
You talked to me about the relationship.
When I first met Jay, we were at a skate park. I noticed him in the parking lot, and I called him over to me, and we had a conversation. From that conversation, we ended up walking to the store. We had, became inseparable. We, developed, feelings, and it did happen all too fast. He did ask me to be his girlfriend, and we did have unprotected sex.
What a fast one right there. Once she told him about the pregnancy, he was happy about the thought of having a child. According to Ms. Crow, he never denied Thomas.
He never denied my son, and if he was here today, we wouldn't have to be here because he would willingly do so. He never said anything rude or disrespectful to me. He was nice to me. He was very accepting. He knew this was his child. We were together every day.
He'd have believed you if you told him the sky was purple.
Well, that's your own opinion. That's your own opinion.
The mental capacity of a 16-year-old.
Mrs. Reinhardt says that her son did not have the discernment to say that Thomas was not his son. The funniest thing then ensues.
I've got a baby picture. If I take that baby picture, I could put it up against my daughter. I could even put it up against my 18-year-old granddaughter. I could put it up against Jay's brother. I could put it up against Jay's baby picture, okay? And we all look like quadruplets.
I have strong genes.
So, Ms. Crow, you say your genes are strong as well. Do you see a resemblance to his dad?
Mrs. Reinhardt's point is that Thomas does not look like said baby picture. And I mean, if I were a betting man, I'd put some money on the fact that there is some semblance between these two. But here we go again with the semblance issue.
And so when Thomas was born, did JC accept the baby as his own?
He told everybody that we would come across, friends, even people we didn't know. He had conversations with, she's pregnant with my baby. He's really happy, he's excited. He never denied my child, and I knew for a fact that, he's the father.
They broke up afterwards and went their separate ways. Because J.C. Turner was in the care of Miss Crow for that time period, she tried contacting his mother via social media, but got no response.
All I know is I saw a picture on Facebook of another man that
my
she was
boyfriend.
with.
That's not his father. He was Jamaican. Does he look half Jamaican? And I lost my father the same year my son lost his father. So there's no reason why I would be up here for no reason. I'm doing this for my son. My son has the right to know, and Jay has, health issues.
JC passed on the same week Thomas turned 1. After he met baby Thomas at 3 months old, he didn't see him after they broke up. Ms. Crow didn't see him as well. This is what happened.
I didn't have a phone number. He didn't have no way to contact me. I didn't even know he was still here until I'm scrolling down my newsfeed on Facebook and I see a mutual friend of ours post, "Rest in peace, Jay," with his picture. And I contacted this person like, what's going on? And they tell me, so I want to make sure it's true. I call the coroner's office. Is it true? You have J.C. Turner there. Yes, it is true.
Mrs. Reinhardt has another story to tell, which doesn't exactly align with Mrs. Crow's. This is the interesting thing she told the court.
Do you know where any of his family's at? Because he don't have family out here like that.
I told her he passed away.
And
she called
to the coroner's office. They said they haven't even talked to her.
Behind my back to get a sample of his DNA, Your Honor.
Oh, no, ma'am.
She didn't even have the decency to bring it to me.
I called her and asked her. She denied it. That's why we're here today.
What a dramatic exchange. Now, who do we believe? Mrs. Reinhardt with her gut feeling, or Ms. Crow with baby Thomas? Back to the T. It's quite interesting that Ms. Crow wants Thomas to meet his father after letting him be MIA for 9 months, after Thomas turned 3 months old till he was 1 year old.
I lost my father on the 3rd month of that year, and the father of my son the 7th month of that year. I was going through stuff my own self. I have a 7-year-old daughter, I have a 4-year-old daughter. Got to make sure my daughter goes to school, got to make sure there's food on the table. I have to make sure of all of these things, and I didn't even have a job at the time, but my kids were taken care of. I took care of my kids.
I guess the question then becomes...
Oh boy. Judge Lake has some important questions to add to the mix. Mrs. Reinhardt is up and ready to listen to Ms. Crow's response as well.
How do you lose track of your child's biological father?
How do you not attend somebody's memorial when they're given a memorial of their death? Because your daughter has school the next day and you can't get a babysitter?
No, that was what you guys did. I went to the skate park where I met him.
Oh boy, oh boy. Now it seems like the line between her intentions and the death benefits are getting quite blurry. Let's hear what she has to say.
For 2 hours with his best friend.
I didn't want to go and be around you. You see how you act?
So you're saying, Ms. Crow, you purposely did not go to the memorial service because you didn't want to have an encounter, a negative encounter or altercation?
Right, because I'm already upset. Everybody's upset, and nobody needs that extra drama.
Well, oops. In addition to all the drama, it turns out that Mrs. Reinhardt has never seen Thomas before. Finally, the results of the test are out, because there was no blood card available to do a DNA test with the deceased J.C. Turner. A DNA test was performed with the surviving parent, Mrs. Reinhardt. The results were as follows. Turns out her gut wasn't so right after all.
Relatedness between Ms. Reinhardt and Thomas Crow is 99.6% you are related. That is your grandchild. Ms. Reinhardt, you have never laid eyes on your grandchild.
20-year-old Ms. Hillman is in court with her mother to prove the paternity of her 13-month-old son, DeMarcus. She says that Mr. O'Neill, the potential father, has done absolutely nothing for the baby. Mr. O'Neill, as expected, is having none of it.
Ms. Hillman, what type of relationship does Mr. O'Neill have with your son?
Well, Your Honor, he don't do nothing for him. They don't have no relationship together. Like when I hold him, Your Honor, and my baby go to reach for him, he ignore him.
Does he provide for the baby financially?
No, he don't do nothing. My mom and the baby's godmother is the one that actually helps me with everything.
What an extraordinary man. As it would turn out, his previous experience with another woman is keeping him on his toes. He admits to not doing anything for baby DeMarcus, and he means it. He states that he is 100% sure that he is not the father of the baby. With such an exemplary man, how on earth did they meet? This is the nature of their relationship.
The first night we met, we chilled, okay, He told me I was his girlfriend. He didn't ask me like he told me. He demanded that, okay, you're my girlfriend, we're together. So the second night, me, him, and the same two mutual friends, we got together, we chilled. That's when I conceived DeMarcus.
Second night, though. What an interesting outburst. First, he demanded that she be his girlfriend, and now he's saying in court that she was not hard to get? What kind of show does Mr. O'Neill think this is? Ms. Hillman had a response for him.
Don't sit down. Don't sit here and try to do it because
I want a woman that play
first
hard
night
to
me
get.
and you met, you sat in our car and you begged. Literally, you begged for it. Don't try it.
Mr. O'Neill says that he does not believe he's the only person she's sleeping with, since she agreed to have relations with him just 2 nights after they met. He also even thinks she was already pregnant before she met him. Isn't that something?
You all met, and very quickly you said you wanted to be in a relationship with Ms. Hillman. Is that correct, Mr. O'Neill?
Yes, Your Honor.
And so you did tell her, okay, we're in a relationship now, and you all were having sex. Were you using protection?
No.
So I know.
Man wasn't neither.
What other man? She
man?
was with you. She was with
That ain't
you
what it
because
is.
y'all was at my house.
Who knows? Perhaps Mr. O'Neill goes out each night to save the world and spots Ms. Hillman with all her other men. Who knows, really? Mr. O'Neill has another wild response for the court.
Love at first sight, that's what he told
And then on top of that, the first time me and him with those mutual friends ever chilled, it was at my mom's house.
And I wish I would have kept walking.
What?
But you didn't.
You wasn't even walking.
You wasn't walking.
You was
You
on
was
the
riding.
passenger seat.
And I wish I would have kept riding along
You a
with her.
scrub because you was on the passenger seat.
Of course, he wishes he kept riding along. Babies are called the consequences of your actions for a reason, Mr. O'Neill. Maybe next time he wouldn't be so quick to declare random women as his girlfriend. Mr. O'Neill mentioned that some random man at the park walked up to him to ask if he was Ms. Hillman's baby daddy. He said yes.
You told the man yes.
At the time, until he got a little older.
And then when he got older, what happened?
He started not looking like me.
You look at that and look at yourself in the mirror. He look like you. He like all your family. All y'all got big eyes, big lips, big nose. Look at the cheeks. He got bags under his eyes just like you and your mama.
He says he does not want to become too attached to baby DeMarcus in case it's not his baby. Mr. O'Neill has been through this before, and he is not ready to face that pain again. Now, the results are finally out, and everyone gets to hear the verdict.
Mr. O'Neill, you are the father.
You did all that.
Can I see him?
Miss Hillman, would it
Can I
be
see my
okay
what?
if Mr. O'Neill saw his son?
That's fine.
I'm happy.
You look happy.
So happy I want to cry.
My supposed to be best friend at the time she was sleeping with him and his cousin at the same time, and she got pregnant and lied to me the whole time she was pregnant that the baby was not his, it was his cousin. When the baby finally did come back to be his, when the baby was like 6 or 7 months old, that's when she finally broke down and stepping up doing what you weren't.
How was that?
How wasn't it?
So why do you think she's in so much doubt over your child?
I have no idea, to be honest. Like, maybe because he is so white?
Because he all the white. He ain't got no black in here. Everything I see got powder puff on it. I don't see no chocolate nowhere, okay?
No, ma'am.
Not every court day do you get to witness a paternity battle between two interracial women. Mr. Hughes is caught in a crossfire between his ex-girlfriend, Ms. Jackson, and his mother, Ms. McBirth, and I hope he's wearing a vest. These ladies are having a dispute on whether or not the young man is the biological father of little Elijah. We are in for a classic American television soap opera.
You say you're stuck between your mother and your ex-girlfriend who are in a heated dispute in court today. Ms. McBirth, you petitioned the court for a DNA test to prove your son, Kakitho Hughes, is not the father of Ms. Jackson's 2-year-old son, Elijah Jackson. Furthermore, you're suing Ms. Jackson for $1,000 for defamation of character because you claim she posted comments on social media.
Going first is Ms. McBirth, and she is not holding back in her critical description of her son's ex-girlfriend's character. The black mother tags the young white lady as trash, trouble, and trifler. Oh, she didn't stop there. Mr. Hughes' mother insists she won't accept Elijah as her grandson, mainly because of his skin color.
So, Ms. McBirth, why do you believe your son's not the father?
This woman is trouble. She is trouble with a capital T. She, as a matter of fact, I call her the 3 T's. Trash, trouble, and trifling. That's what she is. The little boy looks nothing like my son or any member of my family at all. Can I show it? Can I?
Absolutely, ma'am. What did you bring? Piece of evidence. Jerome, may I see that, please? This is a photo of your son and the child in question.
Right. Ms. Jackson tells the court how she feels about her ex-boyfriend's mother's statements. But before she could make a point, Big Mama comes at her without restraint again. I think it's time Mama takes a breather and let the young woman tell her side of the story.
Obviously, you have a different opinion. So why do you think she's in so much doubt over your child?
I have no idea, to be honest. Like, maybe because he is so white?
Because he all the white. He ain't got no black in here. Everything I see got powder puff on it. I don't see no chocolate nowhere, okay?
No, ma'am.
The young woman claims she was in an intimate relationship with Mr. Hughes for several months before she conceived, and he was the only man she had sexual relations with at that time, so he had to be her baby's father. Yet again, Big Mama interrupts her, but this time around, she has backup.
You've been in a relationship with Mr. Hughes?
For maybe about 15, 18 months.
Okay, so a little over a year. Were you in a committed relationship?
I thought we was.
You did, okay. And was he the only person you were intimate with during that time?
Yes, ma'am.
Now she knows she lying. She lying.
Yes, ma'am.
This DNA right here.
Apparently, Mr. Hughes has 2 kids by another woman, and they are the only children accepted by his family. There seems to be more to the hatred they have for Ms. Jackson and her son. You wouldn't believe what Ms. McBirth did the first moment she saw little Elijah.
Mr. Hughes has.
In 10 years,
in 10 years,
babies
he's been
by another
for 2
woman,
years.
and
For
those
10 years.
are my grandchildren.
For 10 years. So all she basically was for him was a snack cake on the side of his meal. There was nothing more.
Thank you. A side chick.
And it's all she has done is she's been trying to put the baby on us.
Force it. Yeah, you have. Don't sit up and act like you haven't.
But the thing about her,
she's trying to push that baby on. That ain't mine. I didn't sleep with her.
Now this is where it gets interesting. Mr. Hughes' sister claims Ms. Jackson initially told her she didn't know who fathered her son. Whoa! If she actually admitted that at first, then she deserves all the heat she has been getting. What's more is that she turned down every chance of getting a DNA test done before today's hearing.
Elijah
she told me
very white.
She told me she didn't know who the father was. First she's changed her story up different times about who's the father. At first, when I first met the girl, she said, okay, I asked her, I said, okay, this is my brother's baby. She said, yes. I said, do you know or do you think? She said, I think. So when we asked, while she was pregnant, we asked her for a DNA test.
That's not all. There is an argument that Elijah has Ms. Jackson's ex-husband's last name. And on top of that, Mr. Hughes' name isn't on his birth certificate. What explanation does our baby mama have for these accusations?
That's because that's my last name.
And so hold on now, if you don't think the child is his, why would she be trying to change the name?
We've been trying to change the name a couple weeks ago, even we talked about it.
He's two years.
My son ain't said
his
no lie
name's
like
not even
that.
on the
Stop
birth
lying.
certificate.
Stop lying.
Okay.
Whose name is on the birth certificate? Do you know?
Nobody's.
Exactly,
because he went. He was not there when he was born. Exactly. I could put anybody on there, but I didn't.
Exactly.
Judge Lauren tries to analyze the young man's connection with the child in question through a picture. Big Mama couldn't stay in her skin seeing her son showing the little boy some fatherly affection in a picture? You couldn't have guessed what said?
Just take a look at the monitor. When you look at this picture,
it makes me want to throw up.
It seems like your son is kissing the baby. It makes you want to throw up.
It makes me want to throw up because
why?
It's a lie.
For your son to be kissing an innocent child?
Because it's not his.
It doesn't matter. daughter, really? Is he showing the child love?
Since the hearing commenced, Mr. Hughes has been a passenger like the rest of us. Now it's time for him to tell his side of the story. What he has to say will leave you dumbfounded.
Step up to the podium. Do you believe you are Elijah's father?
I just gave him the benefit of the doubt because I'm biracial. My father's white, you know.
That child is not my son, okay? She got men coming and going in and out of her house.
My father's a brown-haired, blue-eyed dude, so.
How you know? He just gonna say that because, you know, she gonna freak him after this.
Yeah.
The court has heard everyone's side of the story, but that's not enough to determine whether or not Mr. Hughes is Elijah's biological father. The only way to determine that is Judge Lake reading out the DNA test result. Now let's cut to the chase.
Mr. Hughes, you are Elijah's father.
That's a lie. That's a lie. That's a lie. That's a lie. That's not true. You a lying trick. What did you do? What did you do? He probably
get rid of Satan to save our lives.
A biracial young man is in court today with his white mom to prove that his black ex-girlfriend's baby isn't his. For backup, his ex-girlfriend Ms. Jones also came with her mom to cement her claims. It looks like today's case is a tag team championship match. Don't go nowhere.
Ms. Jones, you and your mother say you are tired of the defendant's denial. He's the biological father of your 6-month-old son, and once the DNA results prove your claim, you demand to be reimbursed for Baby Lyric's child care expenses. Is that correct? Mr. Houston, you and your mother believe jealousy over your new relationship has led the plaintiff to point to you as her child's father, and you are convinced the truth will be revealed in court today. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Jones alleges that she was in a relationship with Mr. Houston in high school, but the relationship went down the drain just before prom. She literally left him because he can't think on his own.
Well, Your Honor, he was so immature that I had to break it off with him a week before prom. He let everybody in his ear. He doesn't have a brain for himself.
Were you boyfriend and girlfriend?
Yes, we were boyfriend and girlfriend.
In high school?
Yes, ma'am.
Something utterly bizarre happened when Judge Lake asked the young man if he thinks for himself. His answer was so hilarious, it left everyone laughing. What's more hilarious is what his mom whispered in his ear with the mic on. Now it's evident that Mr. Houston is a mommy's boy, and that's why they broke up.
Do you think for yourself?
No.
You don't? Who thinks for you?
Yes, you do, honey.
Who thinks for you?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I do.
You do?
Yes, my son thinks for himself. They were, she broke up a few days before prom. It was not a week.
It was a week before
It
prom.
was 2 or 3 days before.
After getting inspiration from mom, Mr. Houston is all pumped up and ready to take on his ex-girlfriend. He claims they broke up because she cheated. But Ms. Jones cuts in to make the court understand that his parents orchestrated their breakup.
No, it was a week before prom, Your Honor.
We broke up because she was getting confronted of cheating on me.
But I ain't never cheated on him. I have never cheated on him.
But once
his family had him
I got to
believe
confronting her.
that I was the one who was cheating on him. And it was mainly you and your husband.
Right.
Mrs. Houston trees to defend herself by explaining that Miss Jones once lets her 15-year daughter play with her phone, and once it was connected to the home Wi-Fi. Some awkward messages came through. These messages led to the conclusion that the young woman was cheating on her son.
Because me and my daughter were catching text messages coming through your phone.
What text messages?
You were answering
What text
your phone.
messages?
The one about the gentleman asking about, did y'all have a good time last night?
It wasn't a
and
text
then you
message
denied
in my
it
phone.
when my 14-year-old daughter was sitting there?
Even with those strong allegations, the young woman maintains that she never cheated on her ex-boyfriend. Now who's lying? We will find out soon enough, won't we? After she got pregnant, she said was unsure about telling the Houstons because of their usual drama. But eventually she did, and she got more drama.
I don't know why they got there.
When you two were dating, were you dating anyone else?
No, I was with him. I was faithful to him.
So you broke up around prom, the time right before prom?
A week before prom.
When did you find out you were pregnant?
I found out June 3rd that I was pregnant. And then once I scheduled the date for my actual appointment to see how far along I was a whole month pregnant.
The drama between the two families in court today is off the charts. Ms. Jones claims her ex-boyfriend's mom has been excluding herself from anything that involves her baby. Instead, she's focused on the white lady her son impregnated. Now that sounds like racism. It's obvious that our white granny prefers having a white grandson over having a black grandson.
Disconnecting herself this whole time. She's like, that's between you and Nigel. That's between you and Nigel. So
Ms. Houston, have you stepped out of the picture? You said it was between her and your son?
Yes, ma'am, because it's so much much drama going on. When you call somebody at 8 months pregnant and say, hey, I just found your number in my old phone, so hey, you guys are too much drama. I didn't want to tell you I was pregnant.
In an attempt to hide her racism agenda, Mrs. Houston insists that her family didn't discover the pregnancy until it was several months old, which is why she believes the pregnancy isn't her son's. Ms. Jones was quick to remind her she requested for a DNA test several times to clear all doubts, but there was no response from the Houstons.
Because she waited until she was 8 months. I mean, you can't just throw 8 months and I'm about to have a baby in a month and expect somebody to jump on ship with you and be like, okay, great, let's go shopping.
Your Honor,
Hold on. And I texted and called her, never got a return call.
Your Honor, I asked for DNA multiple times, more than 3 times, because I already knew that me telling them at 8 months that I was pregnant, I already knew it was probably going to be like some denial, so I offered the DNA test.
In the midst of the argument between the two families, the Houstons made a strong claim about other potential fathers for the baby in question. Whoa, where did that come from? As it turns out, Mr. Houston's new girlfriend works at the same place as his ex-girlfriend, and as you would expect, she has a lot share with the court.
So why did the coworker say somebody else was the baby daddy?
What coworker?
Manager said.
The manager?
The manager
Your
said,
Honor,
oh, you're one
Your
of the
Honor.
guys that she's claiming to be her baby daddy.
Your Honor.
The manager
Wait, what's
told.
the story?
Your Honor, what
wait.
is they talking about?
Miss Hasty worked at, one of the managers came in and saw Mr. Houston or my son and said that, is that one of the guys that Miss Jones is claiming to be her baby's father?
After taking the Houstons to school, Judge Lake is ready to read the DNA test results. Does Mama's boy get to father 2 babies at the same time? Only one way to find out.
Mr. Houston, you are the father.
Boom! Dad.
Miss Jones, don't act silly. Don't act silly in here. Don't do it.
Mr. Watson appears before Judge Lake to prove that he didn't father Ms. Mahoney's son, Kevin. The plaintiff believes his white girlfriend was in a sexual relationship with other men besides him. Whoa, that's a strong allegation. But the defendant denies sleeping with other men, so it's his words against hers.
Mr. Watson, you are in court to prove that you are not the biological father of the defendant's 4-year-old son, Kevin. You say that while you were away, Ms. Mahoney was having sexual relationships with 2 different men, and either of them could be the father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Mahoney, you say you are 99.999% sure that Mr. Watson is the father.
The outcome of this DNA test means so much to this biracial couple because they've come such a long way together. Ms. Mahoney attests that her fiancé treats Kevin harshly at times because of his doubts. We understand how you feel, mister, but that's an unfair way to treat an innocent child.
I've known her since we were kids. We need to get these results because, we are engaged and I would like to marry her, and I really hope this is my son.
And you say the relationship's on the line, meaning if the results don't turn out the way you would like, the relationship, the marriage, everything?
It's out the window, Your Honor. It's over with.
Mr. Watson claims he couldn't give the kid fatherly love because he doesn't see him as his son. Perhaps because he isn't black enough. On top of that, he says Ms. Mahoney is labeled the neighborhood white hoe. Man, that's a racist thing to say. And as expected, Judge Lake takes him to school.
Mr. Watson, you are rejecting the child?
Yes, Your Honor. I'm not the dad, that's why. When I was away, when I came back, she was cheating and she has a bad reputation of being basically, as I'm gonna say it, the neighborhood hoe.
Okay, we're gonna try to use respectful language, but you let's say she had a reputation of being very promiscuous.
Yes.
You won't believe what the plaintiff said he noticed when he came back from a trip. 2 men had moved in with his girlfriend. Can you imagine that?
She had 2 men staying with her and they were showering her with gifts and taking care of her. Now, me as a man personally, I'm not gonna do that for no woman.
Being a man though, you should have left me.
I never left.
Miss Mahoney, did you have 2 men living with you?
Yes, ma'am.
You did?
I had no job. I had nothing to fend for myself. They were close family friends and they just wanted to help me help them.
Ms. Mahoney claims she has no sexual relations with either of the men in question. But funny enough, one of them told her boyfriend otherwise. Apparently, she has been giving them more than a place to stay. So now we get why he has been treating Kevin coldly. But he's not to be blamed for his mother's actions, though.
I would not.
Mr. Watson, you're shaking your head. You don't believe that?
They were not close family friends. That's not true, Your Honor.
I've known them since I was 13.
That ain't no family friend. 13, nothing.
So did you ever ask him, are you sleeping with?
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
And what was his response?
He said yes.
Yet whenever the plaintiff confronts the defendant about the things he discovered about her, she would deny it all. The whole situation is so messy, and I wonder why they didn't confront the man that made the allegation together. Perhaps if he could repeat those statements in her presence, it would have been easier to get to the bottom of it all.
You confronted her about that?
Yes, multiple times.
What
and
did
when
she
I
say?
asked him, I told him we can go together in front of this person and ask them, and he doesn't
But
want
when
to
I say let's go in front of him, she never does.
He doesn't want to do that. He
That's not
stalls out.
That's not true.
Oh, you haven't heard it all. One of the so-called family friends always refers to Kevin as his son right in Mr. Watson's presence. He even refers to Ms. Mahoney as his girlfriend, but not for the first time today. The defendant has a petty explanation for that.
Why would that other guy say he's the father? He always
There's a difference
says,
between a
that's
father
my
and a
son.
dad.
That's
Just
my
to know
son."
that.
What you mean? He the one talking about that. That's his kid.
He provided for him.
Okay, I was away. I couldn't.
When I called you and he was hungry, then what?
I was away. There was nothing I could do.
Like I said, there's a difference between being a father
Okay, so
and...
if he was my kid, so bring other men around my kid?
The whole time, we thought Miss Mahoney was the only guilty party. Boy, were we wrong. Mr. Watson had sexual relations with a former friend of the defendant's, and this woman told him some horrible things about his girlfriend, which he believed to be true. Now that's crazy.
Her and her friend fell out, and the friend called me one day and was like, I want to tell you everything. And she basically told me everything, how she was
What she
sleeping
did
with...
was lie to you because you and her had sexual intercourse.
No.
Did you not?
No, we did not.
No, that did not happen?
No, we did not have sex.
What did her friend tell you, Mr. Watson?
The friend told me how she was sleeping with multiple men, plus the two staying with her.
As it turns out, they once had a DNA test before coming to the paternity court, and the result showed that Mr. Watson is Kevin's biological father. However, Mr. Watson doubts the legitimacy of the result, and he has his reasons.
And we got DNA.
You took a DNA test?
Yes, ma'am.
What happened?
I went and was on government assistance and child support. We have to comply with them. And they asked me who the father was. I told them who he was, and he ran from all the things, and finally they found him and had him go up there and take the DNA.
We can go on with this hearing all day, and we still won't get to the root of this matter. At this point, I think it's time to hear the judge read out the results. Prepare yourself for what is to come.
Mr. Watson, you are the father.
See? I love you so much.
I'm sorry, baby. I love you.
Have you ever heard of a miracle baby? Well, you're about to witness one because that's the theme of today's case. Mr. Ball sues his girlfriend, Ms. Cox, over the paternity of her child. He claims she initially told him she couldn't get pregnant, but out of nowhere, she says he fathered her daughter. If he isn't the baby's father, then who is?
You say that you were told by the defendant, Ms. Cox, that she could not get pregnant, and now she's claiming you fathered her daughter.
There's a dispute between the couple on whether or not the defendant had sex with other men during the window of conception. Whoa! But as expected, Ms. Cox denies ever doing such. How do we know who's lying and who's telling the truth? We will get to that, but first, let's hear them give their testimonies.
She was sleeping with multiple men at the time she conceived and say her best friend confirmed it.
Yeah.
All right, now Ms. Cox, you claim that your other sexual relationships ended prior to sleeping with Mr. Ball.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you believe he is your daughter's father and plan to prove it today.
Mr. Ball claims that while he was serving time, he and the defendant had conversations every day. However, 3 months before his release date, something crazy happened. He received a letter from a reputable source about Ms. Cox's cheating habits. When he asked her about it, she played down the speculation.
Now, Mr. Ball, how did you first hear that Ms. Cox was sleeping with multiple men?
Well, during the time of my incarceration, Your Honor, we were talking every day, morning, noon, night, we would talk every day. And maybe within the last 90 days of me, serving my time, I was getting letters from her best friend stating to me that she was sleeping with other men, going out with other men.
After hearing what the plaintiff had to say, the judge asks Ms. Cox about her relationship with other men. Without wavering, she says her relationship with other men wasn't sexual. Now that's very hard to believe. If she's telling the truth, why did someone close to her break the news to her boyfriend?
While he was away, were you in a relationship with another man?
We was in a physical relationship. It wasn't like we weren't together, nothing
So
like
it was
that.
a sexual relationship.
And he knew about this.
Did you tell Mr. Ball?
No.
Yes, I did. I wrote
No.
him a letter and I told him everything that was
No.
going on, and he wrote back and still agreed to come home to me after hearing everything, as long as everything was put to a stop.
This where it gets more interesting. The news source is the defendant's best friend and the plaintiff's baby mama. Okay, now we are getting a clearer picture of the situation at hand. She claims she had Mr. Ball's best interest at heart because she doesn't want his friends to make fun of him once he gets back home. How thoughtful of her.
Who also still has feelings for him and wanted him to come home to her.
But that has nothing to do with it. She was basically telling me, you know, I don't want nothing to do with it. I'm just letting you know before you come home and look like a fool to yourself and all your friends.
Oh, there's more. The plaintiff claims one of the men his girlfriend was sleeping with moved into her apartment. Imagine hearing all that while in prison. That must have been really tough for the young man to handle. But once again, the defendant denies that ever happening.
You know, so I told her, this is what I'm hearing. Now, what she says about it being just a physical thing, what I'm hearing is this guy was living there, he was staying there, he had keys to the place, she put him out the day before I came home.
Mr. Ball says that his girlfriend's cheating habit didn't stop when he got home. Whoa, how crazy is that? He attests that there was a day he dropped her off at her mom's house, and when he went back to pick her, she was acting weird. When they got back home, she went to bed because she was tired. But while she was asleep, her phone rang, and you couldn't have guessed what happened.
Mr. Ball, when you got home, did you have any other indication that she was cheating?
Yes, I did.
What?
Yes, I did.
You every second
well,
of the day.
you were every second?
I was
so
with
you
you every
forgot
second
about
of the
the
day.
time where I
You were
dropped you off
using
at your
my car,
mom's?
taking-
You forgot about the time I dropped you off at your mom's
You
house
dropped-
and we got into that big incident where I dropped you off at your mom's house, went and got my haircut. Within a time of me going to get my haircut, coming back and picking her
That's when
up.
the text messages
When I got her, when I
with the
picked
other
her
guy.
up.
Oh, that wasn't the only time the truth came to Mr. Ball. He saw different pictures of his woman with multiple dudes on the computer. Can you beat that? Why would she keep pictures of her time with other men on her home computer while her boyfriend is around? Oh, I think it's a miracle they are still together after so much drama.
Did you have any other proof that she was still cheating?
Okay, one day I was at home on the internet, grabbing pictures off of our computer, and I pull up a picture, not one picture, but
But you
multiple
knew I was
pictures.
hanging out with the guy. He
multiple
knew about
pictures
the guy.
Of her, and not only just that guy, another guy.
No,
and
we're all the
another
same
guy. And I
It was all
asked
the
her
same
about
guy.
it.
So let me ask you this. What was in the pictures?
You wouldn't believe what comes next. Mr. Ball got Ms. Cox's best friend pregnant, and she didn't know it was his until the delivery date was a few weeks away. Yet she stood by him and helped take care of the baby. What is crazier is that it's the same supposed best friend that sent him letters about her infidelity while he was in prison. He has literally labeled her a white bitch all day, whereas he has hurt her in more ways than she could possibly hurt him.
You slept with behind my back.
Not at all.
Yes, you did.
Not at all.
Yes, you did.
Not at all.
My supposed to be best friend at the time was living with us, and she was sleeping with him and his cousin at the same time. And she got pregnant and lied to me the whole time she was pregnant that the baby was not his, it was his cousin. When the baby finally did come back to be his, when the baby was like 6 or 7 months old, that's when she finally broke down and told me. And you know what? I was still her friend, and I was still there for his child, taking care of his child.
It came to light that Mr. Ball did something utterly unspeakable to Ms. Cox and her daughter when her mom stepped upon the podium for her testimony. He threw the young woman, her baby, and their gifts out in the snow during Christmas. Now, there's an argument that he wouldn't have done that to her if she was black, because black women aren't so submissive. Whoa! How racist is that?
I really saw his true colors in December of 2011 when he kicked my daughter and grandbaby out in the snow with all their gifts. I'm not being racist, but he knows he can get away with this because these girls are white and more submissive. He would never try this with a black girl.
Hearing the testimonies from both sides, it's hard to tell if Mr. Ball is indeed the baby's biological father or not. I think now is a good time to hear the test results. Let's have it.
Mr. Ball, you are her father. Is that the news you wanted?
Yes.
So understand this. Whatever the doubt has stopped you, blocked you from doing, from fully committing.
Mrs. Jones and Ms. Hernandez are in court today to prove that Mr. Trevino fathered both of their children. One of these women is black, while the other and the defendant himself are white. Wow! What a case we have at hand. Our defendant of the day is a man of all colors.
And Ms. Hernandez Hernandez, you are each here today to prove to a man that he is the father of your children. Now, that man, Mr. Trevino, is waiting outside the courtroom and will join us shortly.
What makes this case more hilarious is that each of these women believe the other woman is the reason their potential baby daddy is denying their child. Now the question is, how did they get here? We would find out soon enough.
Ms. Jones, you say Mr. Trevino is denying your child, and you say it has a lot to do with Ms. Hernandez.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Ms. Hernandez, you say he's also denying that he's the father of your child. You know what, Jerome, I'm ready to see Mr. Trevino right now.
Ms. Jones claims Mr. Trevino has been denying her baby, Cheryl, from the onset. He has been neglecting his fatherly role and she needs him to step up, but the young man didn't waste time debunking her claims. He says his family has been there for her and the baby, but that's clearly not enough for the young woman and her baby.
He's denied her back and forth. He says, I'm not the father, I am the father.
I'm not denying, I'm simply requesting the truth, Your Honor. I'm not denying anybody, and I've been there for both of my
You have not been there.
My family and I have done a lot.
Keyword, your family. You are the father.
Another crazy thing is this. Mr. Trevino believes Ms. Jones has been sleeping with other men besides him. Oh, he didn't stop there. He says he doubts the child's paternity because the timing of conception didn't add up. Unsurprisingly, Ms. Jones didn't hold back in her response.
I'm not the father because you have different men. We weren't together long. He's just not right.
Mr. Trevino, why the doubt? Why have you been denying that this child is yours?
We went to the doctor. I asked him around what time did she get pregnant. He gave me around.
You don't even know what time because you're not right.
Obviously, the defendant needs clarity with the days of conception. And as always, Judge Lake lends a valuable helping hand. The young man claims he doesn't recollect having sex with Ms. Jones during those periods, but she's quick to label him a dumb white boy because he has a retentive memory. Perhaps she's actually pinning the pregnancy on him falsely. Well, we are soon to find out.
And you submitted these days to the court.
Yes, Your Honor.
To outline your doubt. So let's look at those. Now, you claim you went to a doctor's appointment at some point in June, around the 18th.
Yes.
And you're thinking back to that week in March, the estimated dates of conception. And in your mind, you're saying, I don't remember being intimate with her around that time.
Even Judge Lake notices how hard the young woman is slapping Mr. Trevino's face with her words, but she frames her actions in the best way possible. Even if you're going through psychological pain, that's no way to talk to your child's potential father. Now, you would expect Ms. Jones would say she remembers being intimate with the young man during the estimated conception time, but no. She slapped your imagination so hard.
Ms. Jones, you're coming down real hard on him, and he doesn't know this, and he's not this, he's not. Okay, I get that you hurt, but you did choose to be with him, so it had to be something about him you like.
Moving on from that, the young woman says she always called Mr. Trevino Cheryl's father from day one, but afterwards, she gave herself up. She didn't realize the next thing she said until it came out of her mouth, and that caught the entire court by surprise too. This time around, the young man found his voice and told the court how she gave him a low blow.
Did you always tell him that he was Cheryl's father, though?
Always.
Until the point where she told me.
Did you ever tell him that he was not?
I did.
Now, why would you tell him that?
We was having a discussion. It turned into an argument, and right away, she went down and gave me a low blow, and I was like, I've been doing this for you and been doing that for you. I kind of put it out there that, I deserve some gratitude.
Well, that's not the only origin to Mr. Trevino doubts. He claims she was a club hopper when he newly met her, and it was her thing to switch between married men. The plaintiff tries to deny it, but she couldn't beat him down this time around. Now we understand why the young man has doubts of fathering the kid, but he did have unprotected sex with her though, so maybe, just maybe.
Before we got into a serious relationship, she was club hopping. She was, going out with him and going out with him, bringing him home.
No children.
Yes, you were single, and I respect that.
No, you
but
don't.
You're known, and she's told me herself, she's been in relationships with men who are engaged and married.
Oh, really?
And,
oh, really?
So I know she was raised right, like she says, but you gotta get yours
story.
too.
Now, in terms of the other woman, Ms. Jones claims Ms. Hernandez hinders Mr. Trevino from seeing Cheryl. In her defense, Ms. Hernandez says she didn't interfere in any father-daughter relationship, but admits to interfering with Ms. Jones getting back with her man. Oh, did I fail to mention that he's denying fathering her too? Well, that's Mr. Trevor's family drama for you.
I can't come see Cheryl, our daughter, because Miss Hernandez doesn't want me to be around my daughter.
What is your response to her claim that
What
you
is
are
it?
interfering with his ability to be a father to his child that he has with her?
I'm not interfering in him being a father. I am interfering in him being in a relationship with her.
We get that the young man has reasons to doubt both women's loyalty to him, but it doesn't change the fact that he slept with both of them numerous times without protection, and that makes it a 50-50 chance that he fathered both of their kids. But hey, only the DNA test results can reveal the truth. So let's hear it from Judge Lauren.
Mr. Trevino, you are her father.
Now, I need the help. So it's documented. It is documented. Hopefully, he will step up financially. Unfortunately, it has to be forced now, but he will step up and be there.
I don't have to be forced. I'm the one that
And
told
see,
you
And
to go.
Mr. Trevino, trust me, the courts will hold you to this.
I knew it wasn't his baby. When mama went to the hospital and seen that baby, she knew it wasn't. My mama went to the hospital when she had that baby and said, that is not my son's child.
Listen.
You wrong, just how wrong.
You wanted to have a baby.
I can tell you how big his winker is. It's pretty small.
No, it's not. I could tell you plenty of times.
It's about
I've known him for 7 years.
It's
no,
about that
definitely
big.
not. Definitely not. And don't you dare tell Sam about his penis.
Paternity Court, where emotions run high and the truth often hides in the shadows. Buckle up as we dive into another episode filled with twists, drama, and heart-stopping revelations. Our first entry features a shocking tale of uncertainty, lies, and a battle for paternity that will leave you on the edge of your seat. Mr. Ahmad thought he had finally hit the parenting jackpot. For him, this was the moment he had been waiting for all his life. He arrived in the court, fully charged and ready to claim the baby girl he believed was his. But wait, things were about to take a shocking turn.
Mr. Ahmad, you say you were overjoyed to be a father after the birth of your first child, 22-month-old Nevaeh. However, you claim that you were crushed when the defendant later told you another man could be her dad. You are here today to prove you are Nevaeh's father. Is that correct?
Ahmad was over the moon with the baby news. After years of anticipation, this felt like his big break. He was ecstatic at the thought of being a father, something he had always dreamed of. The joy of knowing that he had a daughter filled his heart, and he imagined all the special moments they would share. But as soon as he started feeling this happiness, things got complicated. Ahmad's elation was clouded by doubt, a nagging suspicion that gnawed at his excitement, leaving him in a state of uncertainty. Could this really be his daughter? The more he thought about it, the more unclear everything became.
To be my first child, so I was overjoyed. She was high risk, so she couldn't work. So what I did, I tried to do as best as a man that I could do.
And you all were in what kind of relationship? Committed, or were you just casual friends, or what?
Boyfriend and girlfriend.
Boyfriend and girlfriend, okay.
But then we learn Ahmad wasn't the only one in this mess. Mommy had her own set of commitment issues, to say the least. She called their relationship nothing more than a friendship. Ouch. Imagine the shock Ahmad must have felt hearing that. It was like being blindsided by a truck. Here he was, imagining that he was building a family, and all along, she viewed their connection as nothing serious. The look on his face said it all. This was not the love story he thought he was in. It's like a rom-com, except there's no romance and definitely no comedy here.
It was more of a friendship for me. I loved Mr. Ahmad, but I wasn't in love with him. It was just, he was there for me, and I needed somebody to be there for me.
And how I found out she was pregnant, she came one morning and knocked on my window.
And just when Ahmad's heart was swelling with hope, Ms. Day started whispering doubts. She openly questioned his paternity skills, throwing shade at him every chance she got. For Ahmad, this wasn't just about proving he was the father. It was a test of his emotional strength. This was a full-blown emotional roller coaster. One moment he thought he might have a daughter. The next, he was being painted as someone unfit to claim a child. He had to navigate the space between love and heartbreak, hoping that the court would give him the answers he so desperately needed.
She was at my residence every day.
That's not true. We didn't even get along that much. I was not at his house every day. We argued so much, I never lived with him. Like, he would, when I spent the night, some nights he would kick me out at 2 in the morning.
Why are you so upset now? Because you feel...
I just feel like he trying to make me seem like a bad person when
No, ma'am.
But hold up. Turns out Ahmad wasn't so innocent himself. Ms. Day wasn't going to let him off the hook easily. She started spilling some serious tea about his behavior. Oh yeah, she dropped bombs that could bring any man down. Accusations flew fast and furious, revealing details of their relationship that painted Ahmad in a very different light. But he wasn't about to let it slide. He fought back, trying to defend his actions. It was a battle of wills right in front of us, and the drama just kept escalating.
Another possible father.
I've never known another man. She's been.
That's not
I
true.
went to work.
When I told him,
and I
he was
came home.
intoxicated, and he kicked me out the same night that I told him.
I disagree with that because now I feel like you're trying to make me feel some kind of.
Ahmad was trapped in a "she might be mine" nightmare. Despite everything, he was still involved in the baby's life as much as possible. But when it came time to sign the birth certificate, everything came to a head. Ms. Day had different plans. She refused to let him sign, and Ahmad was left stunned, wondering what on earth had just happened. It felt like his world was crumbling, and the fatherhood dream was slipping away faster than he could grasp it. What could he possibly do next? It's the type of twist you don't see coming.
Sign a birth certificate.
I didn't let you. You did it on your own.
How did he do it on his own? Did the hospital get the information from you?
No, they asked him, was he the father? And he told them yes. And they asked him, did he want to sign the birth certificate? And he told them yes.
And what did you say at the time?
As the court dug deeper into the case, it became clear that this situation was far more complex than it appeared. The judge explored the finer details of hospital protocol, revealing a critical piece of information. A father can only sign the birth certificate if the mother provides the necessary consent and details. This raised an important question. Was Ms. Day actively blocking Ahmad from being listed as the father? Was this all part of some larger plan? The tension in the courtroom grew with each passing moment, and it felt like the situation was on the verge of spiraling out of control.
We actually contacted the hospital because we wanted to find out what the protocol was for the execution of birth certificates. And per the hospital where Nevaeh was born, the procedure is when they admit a mother of a child into the maternity ward, she is asked to fill out a form for the birth certificate, including...
But here's the kicker. Everything flipped when the baby stopped resembling Ahmad. This was the moment that turned everything upside down. Ahmad had always harbored doubts, but seeing that the baby's features no longer matched his was a blow he hadn't anticipated. Ms. Day, however, maintained her stance, insisting that she had been honest all along, but actions speak louder than words, and her social media painted a very different picture. Posts, comments, and pictures revealed information that suggested she hadn't been entirely truthful. Was there more to the story than Ahmad could have ever imagined?
Father's Day to my child's father. Even though she's not here yet, he's already amazing. He takes damn good care of us. I'm proud to call him mine.
That's because he was there. He was there. He wanted to be her father. So
that was before she was born.
What's even crazier? The unveiling of a second baby daddy, Mr. Flowers, another man who could potentially be the father. His involvement complicated things even further, and Ahmad's frustration grew as it became clear that Ms. Day had a deeper connection with this man. Ahmad was not happy about this revelation, and understandably so. What started as a simple paternity test was now a tangled web of relationships, lies, and secrets. The tension was thick as the court tried to make sense of this increasingly chaotic situation.
That's who she know as her father. That's who she know as her dad.
Where's the other man? Do you know where he is?
Yes.
Does he want to be a part of her life?
Yes.
He does.
He takes care of her.
You live together.
Oh.
Right.
I think I want to talk to this other gentleman. He is
Finally, the moment of truth arrived. The results were in, and the entire courtroom was on edge. Ahmad's face was a mix of anxiety and hope as he prepared himself for the final revelation. Would his worst fears be confirmed, or would there be an unexpected twist that no one saw coming? The air was thick with anticipation as the results were read aloud, and the outcome was set to change everything. Let's dive into the results and see who walks away with the truth.
Ahmad versus Day, pertaining to whether Mr. Ahmad or Mr. Flowers is the biological father of 22-month-old Nevaeh Ahmad. It has been determined by this court. The biological father is Mr. Flowers.
Our next entry features a shocking tale of deception, chaos, and the ultimate paternity test, showdown. In this case, viewers are in for a roller coaster ride with Mr. Scott and Ms. Kalon, who, together, bring a whirlwind of accusations and unexpected twists. From the outset, it's clear that this is not just a simple paternity dispute, but a complex web of emotions, uncertainty, and conflicting narratives. Mr. Scott believes that he has a rightful place in this child's life, while Ms. Kalon's actions suggest a deeper story filled with secrets. As the drama unfolds in the courtroom, the audience leaving everyone on the edge of their seats, eager to discover the truth behind the chaos. Mr. Scott is no stranger to the courtroom. He's a repeat offender in paternity court. Having already faced the paternity test ringer before, Scott finds himself back in familiar territory, but this time with an entirely new case. His demeanor speaks of a man worn down by past experiences. Little Kalon enters the courtroom with an almost eerie calmness, leaving everyone questioning how she managed to maintain her composure out of control, leading to a whirlwind of chaos and heartache. The contrast between her tranquil demeanor and the emotional turmoil that surrounds her creates a palpable tension in the courtroom. As the layers of her narrative begin to unravel, it becomes clear that the truth behind her calm exterior is far more complicated than it seems. Played the role of two people falling fast, lost in the thrill of new love and the excitement of their budding connection. However, as anyone who watches paternity court knows, things are rarely as simple as they seem. Behind the initial allure of their romance lurked complexities and unresolved issues that would soon unravel their relationship, revealing the often messy truth of modern love. And the cracks began to show. What started as a whirlwind romance quickly spiraled into chaos. Things took a dark turn, unveiling hidden insecurities and misunderstandings that escalated tensions between them. If Romeo and Juliet's story was tragic, this tale feels more like a soap opera gone terribly wrong, filled with melodrama, unexpected twists, and heartbreak that seemed almost scripted. Their journey, rife with emotional upheaval, transformed from a passionate love story into a cautionary tale about the dangers of rushing into love without addressing the underlying issue. Portrayed Scott as the biggest liar of all time. As the details of their relationship came to light, viewers learned of motels, secretive meetings, and the mystery surrounding their whirlwind romance. What began as a seemingly
As it pertains to 4-month-old Ezra Edward, Mr. Scott, you are not the father.
I apologize.
I guess my assumptions was right.
Now, if you thought things couldn't get more dramatic, let's consider Mr. Vadeboncoeur. This man was done with his wife's compulsive lies and the emotional turmoil they caused. He insisted that his wife had been involved with another man when she conceived their baby. From the very start, Mr. Vadeboncoeur was adamant. This wasn't just about proving paternity, it was about exposing the deceit that had shattered his life and trust. He felt betrayed and needed the truth to reclaim his peace of mind. The courtroom was set for a showdown, and the stakes couldn't be higher.
Please be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is a case of Vadeboncoeur versus Fernari.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Mr. Vadeboncoeur, you have petitioned the court to prove to Miss Fernari that you are not the biological father of her 1-year-old son, Dawson.
Yes, Your Honor.
You claim you can prove you're not.
Mrs. Fernari didn't make things easy. She was quick to dismiss her husband's accusations. Even as the courtroom buzzed with the tension of their confrontation, the air was thick with emotions, making it clear that this was no ordinary dispute. Mr. Vadeboncoeur, however, wasn't about to back down. He painted a picture of a relationship built on a foundation of lies, with his wife's infidelity at the center. While he believed they'd been together barely months, she suggested it had been 2 years. He claimed she had numerous relationships behind his back, and now he wanted the truth to come out once and for all.
Want her out of your life for good.
Yes, Your Honor.
Miss Fernari, though you admit to sleeping with 2 other men, you say there's no doubt that Mr. Vadeboncoeur is your son's biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Vadeboncoeur, tell me about your relationship with Miss Fernari.
One thing was true, though. She had indeed been cheating, and she confessed to it herself. The difference was, it wasn't multiple times, according to her. So who then was telling the truth? We'll find out soon enough.
He hear about you being with other men?
I did tell him.
You told him?
Yes, I did.
What did you tell him?
That I had sex with another guy while he was away.
So Mr.
The drama escalated when Mr. Vadeboncourt revealed that he had been approached by one of his friends, who confessed to being one of his wife's alleged lovers. This revelation, he claimed, was the final straw, proof that she had been unfaithful. The courtroom erupted in an uproar, with emotions running high on all sides, each person caught in the storm of conflicting narratives.
You know, Miss Fernari is out there cheating on you. I'm one of the guys she cheated on you with. All right, now I'll let it go. I was thinking he is mine. Now I get to talking to another guy and he tells me he's had sex with her, and I look at Dawson and I look at him and I'm thinking it's his kid.
How did that affect you?
I was sick.
The surprise thickened when Mr. Vadeboncourt's sister came out to testify, siding with Mrs. Fernari, believing it was in the best interest of the child. This unexpected turn added another layer of complexity to an already tense situation. Mrs. Fernari, visibly shaken, did not deny the allegations. Then she stepped foot on Chaos's gas, claiming her actions were in response to Mr. Vadeboncourt cheating first. This bombshell sent shockwaves through the courtroom.
Bonker?
Yes, that's my brother.
Oh, so you're the sister that told him about the cheating, but you're standing with Ms. Fernari today?
It's about this little boy right here.
Tell me what you know.
That's what it's about.
Tell me what you know.
One night after we had all been drinking, she slept with one of the people that came to our little get-together.
The drama heightened when Mrs. Knox, David's fiancée, stepped in, transforming the court from peace to chaos as the three women took the stand. The crux of the matter lay in their attempts to secure a paternity test, but Ms. Fernari had taken their requests with a pinch of salt, leading to even more frustration and accusations.
You went out and went to the bar with two other girls and had sex with them.
That's irrelevant, Your Honor.
Okay,
Why? Our son was in the hospital.
We was not together at the time. She asked me to come up and see Dawson.
Yes, we were together.
So I did come and see Dawson. She tries to say we've been together for 3 years.
After so much argument and emotional turmoil, the moment arrived to reveal the truth of the matter. As the judge read the results, you could cut the tension with a knife. The truth was finally out, and the outcome, let's just say it left everyone in that courtroom, and probably everyone watching, completely stunned.
Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Vadeboncourt versus Fernari, when it comes to 12-month-old Dawson Fernari, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Vadeboncourt, you are the father.
That's you.
In this dramatic episode of Paternity Court, we are thrust into the world of Funzie vs. Irvin, where secrets and emotions collide in a high-stakes battle for paternity. Ms. Funzie enters the courtroom with a mix of determination and anxiety, ready to confront Mr. Irvin over her claims about their child, asserting that the child is indeed theirs. The air is thick with tension as she prepares to lay bare her truth, hoping to validate her claims and put an end to the uncertainty that has loomed over their relationship. All eyes are on her, and the stakes couldn't be higher as the truth hangs in the balance.
Good day, everyone. Ms. Funzie, you have opened your case to save your family. You are here to prove your 1-month-old baby, Joaquim Irvin, is your boyfriend, Mr. Irvin's biological son. You say you and Mr. Irvin have 2 other children, and you plan to have this 3rd child.
However, Mr. Irvin wasn't having it, as she had alluded to having an affair a few weeks before the pregnancy. The atmosphere was charged, and the tension palpable as both parties prepared to air their grievances.
You blame his sister for stirring up his ridiculous doubts, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Irvin, you say that Miss Funzie confessed to having an affair weeks before you learned of her pregnancy, and
She revealed that cheating had been a trend in their relationship, noting that Mr. Irvin had cheated on her earlier. Since he confessed, she argued it was only fair for her to do the same. She then reinforced that it was only a one-night stand, trying to minimize the impact of her actions.
When he had told me he cheated, and I would feel like I should come to him because I cheated.
So how soon after you found out she was cheating, confronted her, did you find out she was pregnant?
When we went to the mobile ultrasound, I wanted to see how many weeks she was, and when she came out with the paper, I couldn't understand the number of how many weeks she was.
Seeds of lies and deceit started to take root when Mr. Irvin relayed the incident of an adulterated ultrasound scan result. He, along with his sister Jada, believed it had been doctored to suit Ms. Funzie's narrative, a claim she vehemently denied, escalating the drama in the courtroom.
For ultrasound, I wanted to see how many weeks she was, and when she came out with the paper, I couldn't understand the number of how many weeks she was. Like they drew the number in cursive or something.
They drew 1 week and 2 days, and you saw the lady hand me the paper off the bus. You parked right outside, and you saw her hand me the paper.
I didn't know if she was pregnant by me or someone else.
In a bid to further substantiate her claim, Ms. Funzie presented a picture of their boys, revealing they all had knock knees, arguing that this should count for something, as it may be hereditary. She felt this visual evidence would bolster her case.
Like they got the same knock knees. Oh, they're okay. All the other kids, they say they all got the same knees and the same body shape, and you say Joaquin got the same thing.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you believe these knock knees are hereditary and the body shape is an indication.
The court, however, had better plans, and in search of the truth, invited a medical expert who established that it was difficult to say with certainty that children at that age with knock knees had a biological relationship. This revelation struck a blow to Ms. Funzie's argument.
This minor child carries that trait.
I would say, my expert opinion, it would be very difficult to determine this at this age.
Okay.
Knowing that the variants happen in children less than 6 years old.
So, Ms. Funzie, as you listen to Dr. Richardson's testimony, does that change your belief?
The shock was palpable. This finding counted for nothing as Ms. Funzie held on strongly to her belief that the children were indeed Mr. Irvin's.
Y'all understand what he's talking about, but it's still, they all have knock knees.
Have you ever told this other man that he is the biological father?
No, Your Honor, I haven't talked to him since the day that I cheated on Jordan with him.
All right. So, in this courtroom, we get to the truth. So, this courtroom has tracked down this other man.
Ms. Funzie's earlier statement soon faced a challenge when a message submitted to the court by the man with whom she cheated came to light. He, without mincing words, revealed to the court that they had been intimate multiple times. Of course, Ms. Funzie's jaw dropped, and the entire courtroom marveled at this unexpected twist.
We kept sleeping with each other 3 to 4 times after that with no condom. This was between the months of October 2017 and November 2017. Ms. Funzie, I'll let you respond now.
That don't even make sense. They say November 2017. I blocked him October.
Okay, Bria.
Eventually, she surrendered and admitted that it indeed happened multiple times, shifting the dynamics of the case once more.
Yes or no?
Yes.
I'm sorry?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, it was more than one time, or it was a one-night stand?
It was more than one time.
You go
Okay.
You lied. You lied to me.
Listen, let her explain it. She's telling the truth now. She's getting to the place where she's ready to talk about this, and this is good because this is what's going to...
While the court prepared to get the results, Mr. Irvin proffered hope by stating that he was willing to accept the child as his, if indeed he was. This declaration brought a moment of calm to the room, showcasing a glimmer of potential reconciliation. However, if the child was not his, he wasted no time in expressing that it would mark the end of his relationship with Ms. Funzie.
Yes, I'm hoping he's mine for my son's sake.
And if he is not?
If he's not, I'm gonna be done with this relationship for good.
I'm ready to get the result. Jerome. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of...
With this, the tension built up again in the room, setting the stage for what could be a decisive factor in this strained relationship. Would they stand united, or is this the end? Let's find out.
Or Mr. Winfield is the father of 1-month-old Joaquin Irvin. It has been determined by this court. The biological father is Mr. Winfield.
I know what I told you.